Hey everyone, it's Scott Hansen from NFL Red Zone reminding you to watch Sportsballers, the podcast that gets you caught up on everything Washington sports and beyond.
Hello and welcome to the latest edition of the Sportsballers podcast. I'm Evan Ash, joined as always by Eric Meyer and the Hall of Famer Corey Puffett. Today on the show, it's a big week of college football. It's rivalry week, obviously. Going to hit you with some updates on Major League Baseball. NFL will be the meat, potatoes, and dessert of our show as usual. But we'll start in the NBA. Mainly because I'm not done putting stuff in the document and need someone else to talk. So, Eric, tell us all about the goings-on in the NBA.
Well, they're playing basketball professionally.
They are doing that.
In something that's called an association. And Kyrie Irving's back, baby. He's back. So excited.
Yeah.
I guess he did what was needed according to the Nets, and to be fair to Kyrie, it looks like, from what I saw, he seemed appropriately contrite for his behavior, which is something I didn't think he was capable of expressing. But he did whatever was required, and now he's back to playing basketball. I think that is the right way for things to ultimately go, except for the fact that they were greeted, they being the Brooklyn Nets, by the Black Israelites, which is a hate group. These are the same folks,
or at least they are labeled a hate group by the Southern Poverty Law Center.
I defer to their expertise when it comes to hate groups.
I do too.
So the Black Israelites, from what I understand, espouse a lot of the views that Kyrie's video, movie, documentary, whatever the hell you want to call it, that he promoted. I'm going to say he promoted it by tweeting the link to it to Hebrews to Negroes or whatever it was called. They are the people that believe this stuff, that African Americans were true descendants of Jewish people, and that whoever is currently saying that they are Jewish are frauds or something. I don't really understand what that's about, but that's the gist of it. And they were en masse outside the Barclays Center rallying for support for Kyrie Irving. And
yeah, that part's not great.
That's not great at all.
Well, that's the part that's not great.
Even less great is the fact that Jaylen Brown tweeted approval of these gentlemen. I don't know if there were any ladies there. I only saw men in the video. Standing outside because, as it seemed, Jaylen Brown didn't know what the hell these guys were all about.
To be fair to Jaylen Brown, his explanation makes a lot of sense. That he thought that they were members of, was it Omega Phi Psi fraternity?
Yes, which Bomani Jones tweeted out saying, these are not those guys,
because
be careful.
To be quite honest, when I first saw the picture of a group that was outside the Barclays Center welcoming back Kyrie, I thought it was that fraternity. Like, they're wearing the Crown Royal shirts, the purple and gold that I associate with that fraternity.
Yes.
That's what I thought at first.
Yes.
So I can forgive Jaylen Brown for the initial reaction of thinking that it might be that fraternity. The thing that I don't understand from Jaylen Brown was his explanation of his decision to not take down that tweet after he found out who the group was. His explanation was that he still supports Kyrie coming back, and that's fine. I don't love that he's back. I also didn't love how ridiculous the list of chores that he had to do to come back was. We talked about that a couple of weeks ago on the show and how weird that felt. But he's happy that Kyrie's back. That's fine. You have millions of followers. You really think that taking down one tweet, like, you can't replace it with a different tweet that also welcomes back Kyrie, and people aren't going to see that and still get that you're happy to welcome him back? If I mistakenly make that tweet that Jaylen Brown initially does, and somehow I get millions of likes and retweets and stuff on it, I could see where I might be a little bit hesitant to take down that tweet and put up a replacement one still welcoming back Kyrie, because I have like 20 followers. How, I'm not going to get, the odds of me getting another tweet that goes viral like that are pretty low. And so if I feel like this is the only tweet that I'm going to put out that's going to show en masse that I am supportive of Kyrie's return to the floor, I could understand that. But Jaylen Brown has millions of followers. I think they're going to get the message.
So, again, Bomani Jones made sure that us white people understood that this was not the frat, because he knew that people were like, oh, damn, they're looking kind of like them, but I don't want people to get the wrong idea. I know that's not them.
Yeah.
Because, as you know, Bomani Jones went to an HBCU, so he's much more familiar.
Oh, yeah.
But anyway, Jaylen Brown is showing himself to be a disciple of Kyrie Irving in the fact that he thinks he's the smartest guy in the room everywhere he goes. He has been supporting Kyrie throughout this entire 3-week saga at every step, even at times where it didn't make any sense to do so.
Do you think any of this support is coming from them basically, aren't they like co-presidents of the NBA Players Association?
I don't know about any of that.
I'm pretty sure they're like, or at least they both hold leadership positions within the Players Association.
It's very possible that they have a friendship, but that doesn't explain all of Jaylen Brown's antics. It doesn't explain his hesitancy to step away from Kanye West's agency or whatever, who hilariously enough, the player management czar of that agency was Antonio Brown. And Jaylen Brown was signed up for this and stayed on board basically until he had no choice but to hop off. Jaylen Brown has shown himself to be a guy who loves to make sure we all understand how smart he is. He is like Kyrie in that respect. Fortunately, he hasn't gone flat earther. Fortunately, he hasn't directly tweeted any anti-Semitic media, but he's towing dangerously close to that line with this seemingly unending support for people who do the wrong things. I mean, I don't know what else to say about it other than that.
I feel like people just don't understand that when you try to appear to be the smartest person in the room, you're telling on yourself.
Yeah, Jaylen Brown has told on himself a couple of times, like in the finals when he said, "We're not scared of the Warriors." I'm like, nobody asked you if you were. So, you obviously are. And by what happened in that series, you should have been. But, it's just, hopefully this can be put to bed. We can move on from this. Hopefully Kyrie actually doesn't let his pathetic pride get the better of him and start chirping at the media about how it's secretly their fault and blah, blah, blah.
Oh, it's going to come back.
I'm sure it will, but, if he's serious about staying employed in the National Basketball Association, it is a requirement at this point that he plays ball and does the right thing here. And I know he's got a lot of pride, but I also know he likes money. And he ain't going to get no more money if he's acting a fool. So let's move on. We've talked about this plenty over the last few weeks. Let's talk about Steph scoring 50 against the Suns. And it was sad because the Warriors still got their ass kicked. Like, I have never seen ever in my life somebody score 50 points and the team having no chance to win. Like, I've seen people lose when their star player goes off, but usually the game's close. This game was not close. This was just, I guess Steph's out there, he's going to get his 50, and that Warriors are going to lose by 15 points. Like, that's how it went down. And it's been the same issues we talked about. Defense is bad. The bench is bad. Clay was abhorrent in this game, although he did play pretty well a couple nights ago against the Rockets.
Yeah.
And seemingly has turned a corner after having a little powwow with his teammates about playing within himself and playing within the system. He's looked much more team-oriented and therefore more effective the last couple of nights he's been out there.
It's funny how that works sometimes.
Yeah, where when you actually care about helping your teammates, you're better at being a teammate. It's funny.
And you're usually also better at the individual, your individual stats reflect better on you.
Yes, because you're actually taking shots you can make instead of ones you can't.
Yeah.
And that's been the big problem with Clay is he's taking a lot of shots that are low percentage that don't help the team.
Let me ask you this. Did they lose by 45 in Steph's 50-point game?
Well, no. They lost by 45 last night when Steph didn't play, along with Draymond and Clay and Andrew Wiggins.
So there's that.
There is that, yeah. So,
they were more in that game than they were last night.
Yes, because they had Steph scoring 50. This game, they didn't have Steph scoring 50, and they were playing a worse team than the Suns, at least in terms of standings, and they got blown out by 45. Oof. Not a great look. I think I had one more note on the NBA in here. Talking about, Giannis Antetokounmpo had a little incident. Probably the first one he's had his entire career where people are like, damn, Giannis, that's a bad look. So the Sixers and the Bucks were playing, I think the game was in Philadelphia, and Embiid was great. The Sixers ended up winning in large part because Giannis couldn't make any free throws. He went 4 of 15 from the free throw line. Shaquille O'Neal-esque performance right there. And so in the post game, after literally losing the game for his team at the free throw line, Giannis decides he's going to spend time after the game working on his free throws, which players seem to do a lot. They stick around after the game and shoot hoops and stuff like that. Well, initially, the only context of the video footage that we got was that the Sixers roadies, if you will, they're not actually roadies, but they're team employees that are responsible for maintaining the court and the hoops and things like that, were attempting to alter the rim, take the net down. I don't know exactly what they were doing, but they impeded Giannis's progress to shooting free throws, and so Giannis asked them to move, and he manually scooched the ladder out of the way. But then they put it back as Giannis went to the free throw line to take free throws, so Giannis came back and got pissed off and threw the ladder, and it fell over onto the court, and now Giannis Antetokounmpo, who has been the nicest guy in the world for a decade in the NBA, is actually an asshole the whole time. Not really buying it. It doesn't reflect the character that he's shown throughout his career. And as it turns out, this was a pretty consistent troll job by everybody involved with the Philadelphia 76ers, where Giannis was working on his free throws, and then Montrezl Harrell, who plays for the Sixers and comes off the bench, basically took Giannis's basketball away from him. And so Giannis was like, what the hell? He had to go get another ball, was not allowed to shoot at the hoop that he was currently shooting at, so he went down to the other one, and that's when the incident with the ladder happened. And I'm like, okay, y'all were clearly just trying to piss this guy off and stop him from doing what everybody's been entitled to do pretty much in the history of the NBA, which is practice after the game. And it takes a certain level of petty to tell a professional basketball player they can't do that. And that's what the Sixers players and their managers seemingly tried to do. And Giannis got mad, and he threw a ladder. I don't care. I don't care. People wanted this to be about, oh, look how badly he's treating the lowly managers and stuff like that. I'm like, no. That's not what went down here. This is an entire system of not letting Giannis practice his free throws. Like, these guys are acting like clowns, and they got what they deserved, and all they got was having to pick up their ladder. So, don't care. Did I filibuster long enough for you, Evan? You got all your stuff written
actually, I haven't made my NFL picks yet.
Oh.
I usually do those ahead of time, but I'm not gonna worry about it. Let's see. Oh, come on, computer, you can do it. My computer's all old and terrible. I got it on my phone here. Is that it for?
So we got for professional
NBA?
basketball. Yep.
All right. Hit us with some Major League Baseball. So, Corey, your Yankees have not done something. Aaron Judge has met with the San Francisco Giants today. Your thoughts on this?
Yeah, I mean, I also saw a tweet today that said that the Yankees are closing in on a deal with Aaron Judge, but in this day and age, I'm not taking anything that comes out on Twitter at face value.
Not on Elon Musk's Twitter, no way.
That's how you get your hopes up and dashed very quickly. So, I saw this coming. I think we all kind of saw this coming. We all felt like if Judge was to leave the Yankees, the West Coast is probably where he was going to be heading, Giants in particular. So this does not surprise me at all. I'm still hopeful that a deal will get done between him and the Yankees. But, if he leaves the Yankees and I do decide that's it, that I just can't support that team anymore, I could see myself pulling for the Giants.
Giants?
As far as other teams for him to go to, I could get on board.
You couldn't pick any other orange team. You can think of another one?
I couldn't think of another team that wears orange and black.
Oh, okay.
And some gray sometimes. And also white.
Everybody wears gray and white.
Unbelievable.
But yeah, we'll see what happens there.
Okay. The aforementioned Aaron Judge was named American League Most Valuable Player, along with NL MVP Paul Goldschmidt.
Yeah.
So congratulations to them.
Good for them.
Yeah,
both first-time MVPs.
Yeah, pretty sure we all had that for both, right? Like we were pretty far on it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I think Goldschmidt.
Not in the preseason, but
no.
But by the end of the season, we
agreed that
those were the two most deserving guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, makes sense. Let's move on to college football because that's the stuff I was typing in just a few minutes ago. The University of Maryland Terrapins had a close game with Ohio State this past Saturday.
Shocking.
And I would like everybody to know that I have regained feeling in my toes because I was at the game and it was a little chilly, to say the very least. 4 pairs of socks was not enough.
Yeah.
Good Lord.
Sounds like you need to reacclimate still to living in the Mid-Atlantic area. The 13 years in the South has softened you up a little bit, man.
I guess so.
I know it was cold the other day. I know it's been cold this past week or two. Really, it's been very cold. But what's wrong with your socks, dude? Like, what socks do you have? My socks. I don't need to wear like 4 pairs of socks to keep my toes warm.
It was like 30-something degrees, and it was just sitting there for 4 hours.
You need some better socks and some better shoes, because my feet don't get that cold.
Oh, well, my shoes was an issue as well, just because I only had running shoes.
Oh. Well, yeah, I mean, I only wear running shoes, really, and even so, like, a pair or 2 of socks the most get the job done.
Oh, okay. Well,
my feet were frozen.
Okay.
I was double socking it when it was 95 degrees outside.
Well, that was to keep your feet from just absolutely killing you while you were walking for miles, riding all those roller coasters.
Miles and smiles.
Yeah, smiles and smiles. Absolutely. I mean, y'all have anything else to say? Y'all attended this school, at least for some amount of time.
I mean, Corey attended it for longer than I did. Let's call it what it is.
Oh, you were there longer.
Yes, I was.
Yes. Yeah, because Corey, were you in like your 5th year?
I was.
Yeah, so you attended it for longer than I did.
What?
Yeah.
What is going on?
There are no lies. I attended.
He attended for 4.5 years, and then he didn't.
And then what?
We don't need to talk about that on here.
Yeah. Then I got my degree. From another college.
From the University of Maryland.
Yeah.
It's facts.
Yeah. I did get my degree from the University of Maryland.
It's facts. We're not telling no lies here.
Yeah, eventually. Anyway.
Still leaving out some context, but that's okay.
It's just the words. It's just the 2 words that come after the hyphen. And there are 2 words that come after the hyphen in my school's name.
That's true.
Okay.
Although I think they changed it now. It's now Global Campus or something like that.
That's still 2 words.
I know, but it's not the same 2 words.
Yeah.
Anyway, Evan, go ahead.
I'm trying to ask y'all what you thought of this game. Did you watch it?
I watched
the
it.
Zebras had an influence.
The Zebras have had an influence on every Maryland football game this year because they don't like us. Like, we've overcome it quite a few times, but other times, like you were also at the Purdue game, Evan, while
Yes.
I was having a meltdown at Six Flags because Nitro was closed, and my team was supposedly getting screwed. So, but anyway, yeah, I watched this game. I think I never really felt like we were gonna win because it's Ohio State. You never really get the vibes unless you're up by like 20 points with a handful of minutes left. But like the fact that the Terps actually came back and made it really interesting, like had the ball down 3 late in the game, because they had a lead at the half. Then in the third quarter they got blitzed and they were down, and it felt like, okay, they're toast. Here's where they're gonna, I was just hoping they covered at that point and didn't give up 4 more touchdowns. But they got it back within 3, got a stop, had the ball, and Maryland's offensive coordinator needs to be fired because he doesn't know what the hell he's doing. Made some really dumb play calls at the worst time, and the Terps just simply couldn't get on track. Like, they just could not get that offensive drive that they needed, and then they had to punt the ball away, and Ohio State didn't give it back. So they played hard. I wish they had that kind of fight against Penn State because, frankly, Penn State is not as good as Ohio State. They were much more beatable than Ohio State, but Maryland did not show up for that game. They showed up for this one, and they lost both. Corey is enjoying himself for some reason.
Okay.
You still have that look on your face like you got something juicy you're keeping from
swallowed
us.
the canary over here.
No.
Okay.
Just a little something in the show notes.
Yeah. Anyway, Georgia Tech football. Before we get on to this week's game, Georgia Tech football was supposed to get annihilated at North Carolina, and they won. They were down 17-0 and came back to win 21-17 against I think North Carolina was ranked number 13 at the time.
Pretty sure they're still ranked 13 according to our show notes.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the new rankings just came out like a few minutes ago as we're recording. So.
Oh, yeah. I forgot. It's Tuesday. We're a
day
early.
Tuesday. Yeah. So the new rankings just came out. Georgia Tech won. So that puts us at 5-6 on the season, and we are 1 win away from being bowl eligible.
Which cupcake do you get to play this week to get yourself to bowl eligibility, Evan?
Yes, we get a cupcake, and it turns out it's a lump of coal. So this week, clean old-fashioned hate Georgia Tech at number 1 UGA at noon on ESPN.
Upset alert.
I'm not going to be watching this. I haven't watched this game in like 5 years.
Since the last time y'all won.
Well, we last won in 2016.
Okay, so that was 6 years.
It's been 6 years since that.
So you saw the most recent. So you saw a loss after the win. You're like, all right, that's it. I'm done. I'm getting off before it gets,
But you got to watch this one. You're going for bowl eligibility.
I guess.
Don't you want to be in the Pinstripe Bowl, Evan?
I mean, I would love to be in the Pinstripe Bowl. I think that would be kind of cool, actually. Yeah.
I'd go too.
Yeah, that'd be fun. That's where the New York Giants should still play. The Meadowlands sucks. It's impossible to get in and out of there. But yeah, so not looking forward to this week's Georgia Tech game, but maybe somebody out there is. Let's talk about Thursday night, the Egg Bowl. We've got Mississippi State at 14 Ole Miss. That's on Thursday at 7 on ESPN. So in case the Thursday night or Thanksgiving night NFL game is a dud, maybe flip over to the college game and see what happens here in rivalry week. Then on Friday, number 24 NC State at number 13 North Carolina. That's at 3:30 on ESPN. Alrighty, so now let's get to Saturday, and of course Saturday is the game on Big Noon Saturday. We've got number 3 Michigan at number 2 Ohio State. College Game Day will be there. I checked the weather as well before we started recording. It's going to be nice, high of 50 something. So last year's matchup in the game featured snow. It is not going to snow this week in Columbus. Any thoughts at all?
Well, we kind of talked about this on the chat that Corey is not in, about what happens if and or when Ohio State or Michigan loses, because one of them's going to have to. They don't have ties in college football, so not anymore at least.
No.
And the question is, can one of those teams with a loss still qualify for the 4-team playoff?
We talked about that a little bit last week too.
Evan said no on the other chat. He doesn't buy it.
No, I'm not buying it. Just because whoever loses this game won't win a conference championship.
That's right.
And if a 10-1 conference champion USC or a 10-1 conference champion Clemson is available to go to the playoff, then I feel like one of these teams, the loser of this game, will be left out. And they'll go to a lesser New Year's Six bowl.
I feel like the college football playoff committee has shown less interest over the years in who wins the conference titles, right? Like, it feels like they've gotten off of that a little bit. Clemson is a phony ass team, right? Like,
oh yeah.
Like there's no justifiable way you can tell me that Clemson is better than Michigan or Ohio State, because it's not true. And the same thing for USC. That's just fallacious. Although I do think USC is going to lose the Pac-12 championship, because that's what they do. They'll lose to Utah or whoever they play, or Oregon, or I don't even know. They're going to lose that game.
One of those.
They're going to blow that game, and that's going to eliminate them.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's going to come down to, now the question is, I feel like if Ohio State loses, they've got a better shot, because I feel like the committee likes them more.
Oh, yeah.
So if Michigan gets this win, obviously they're coasting. And then they're going to blow out whoever they play in the West, which is like in a 5-way tie or something ridiculous like that. But if Ohio State wins...
Probably Iowa.
Yeah, Michigan's going to have a tougher time. But I'm still... I am curious to see how it plays out, because everybody and their mother knows that Clemson ain't good.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, we saw with the Week 1 rankings, which we know to take with a grain of salt because it's just for attention, Clemson was ranked ahead of Michigan until they lost. So is the committee just waiting for Michigan to lose just so they could have an excuse to put Clemson back in it? I don't know. All I know is that if Clemson gets in and they're playing Georgia, well, enjoy yourself, Georgia. You've got yourself a layup and a walkover, because Clemson is not real. They are
for the
not
second
good.
year in a row, a layup and a walkover as well.
They got Michigan last year, right?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. That was a no contest type of deal.
No, it wasn't. Yeah, I agree, Eric. I don't think Clemson is any good, but I feel like once a team gets a second loss, for the most part, they're pretty much done.
I agree.
If LSU beats Georgia next week in the SEC championship game, I do feel like LSU should be the 4 seed behind whoever wins the game this week, behind TCU and behind Georgia as well.
So you think that if LSU beats Georgia, that Georgia should still stay ahead of them in the playoff?
Oh, yeah.
I agree. Of course, we also know that LSU's not beating Georgia, so it's kind of a moot point.
Yeah.
That's not going to happen.
Yeah, college football committee people can go to bed early next Saturday night, because they don't have to worry about that. Let's see. This Saturday we got the Iron Bowl, Auburn at number 9 Alabama, 3:30 on CBS.
All these bowls. Where's the big Green Egg Starksville Integrity Bowl?
In my imagination.
Where it always was.
Yeah. And then let's see, we got the Civil War, number 12 Oregon at 23 Oregon State, also 3:30 on ABC. And then to round out the evening, 18 Notre Dame at number 7 USC at 7:30 on ABC. And I mean, I guess it goes without saying that College Game Day is going to be at the Michigan-Ohio State game with number 3 and number 2 squaring off. Y'all have anything to add on any of those?
Not really, no.
Okay. College basketball. I've watched absolutely zero college basketball this season, but apparently Maryland Terrapins are 5-0 and ranked number 23 in the AP poll.
That's right. Yeah, I've watched 4 out of the 5 games because I could not attend one of their cupcakes. I missed their second game of the season, but I attended the first and the third one, and I watched both of these games on TV. I was watching this instead of football from 1 to 3 on Sunday. And, yeah, they look great, much to a lot of people's surprise, including my own. I just didn't think that with a new coach transitioning, limited amounts of talent due to a lack of opportunity to recruit, usually that transition year, especially in basketball, it's usually pretty rough, and it's the same way in football. I mean, we've seen what's going on with Oklahoma. You know, like their coach left, and it's like, oh, well, crap. He took all the good players, too. And Venables sucks, and he's going to get fired. So,
after 1 year?
Yeah, the team quit. You can't get blown out by Texas like that and keep your job. That's just.
But Texas is back, though.
They're not back. Oh. You know they're not back. You know they're not back. Anyway, Terps look great. I could take this opportunity as a moment to say I told you so about the former guy, but I'm not going to do that because I'll just do that later in the year because there's going to be plenty of opportunities to do so, although I am curious. That guy's off the grid, man. Haven't heard from him. Hasn't done an interview. Hasn't talked to anybody. He's a hermit. But, you know, it's fine with me. But, yeah, I'm excited about the Terps. Dante Scott looked really good. Julian Reese, who returned this year despite the fact that the coach left, he's taken a big step forward. He looked pretty awful last year, to be honest, and now he looks like a legit potential all-conference big man. Might even play in the league. It's just a really solid team of players that we thought could be good, and now they've seemed to come together. The team's fun to watch. There's a lot of energy. Kevin Willard is passionate. He's fired up. He seemingly actually gives a damn about running plays, which is a breath of fresh air. And, yeah, I'm really happy. I mean, this is not what I expected. I was hoping to get maybe one win out of that tournament because the Terps were underdogs against St. Louis by 2.5 points. They blew them off the court. They beat them by like 27 points. And then they played Miami, who is a legitimate tournament team in all likelihood, and they were up by double digits for the vast majority of the game. Never fell behind, the lead never dropped to single digits throughout the entire second half, and they won that game by 18 points. I mean, it was just 2 very convincing wins over quality teams. And, you know, they get Coppin State on Friday after Thanksgiving. Hopefully the team hasn't had too much turkey and they don't sleepwalk through that one, but that's all supposed to be a cupcake. And the Terps will be welcoming back Juan Dixon, who coaches Coppin State. So be good to see Juan, give him a standing O, and then kick the crap out of his team.
Sounds like a good plan.
I like the sound of it.
We also have on here, Eric called a hockey game this week. Tell us about that.
Yeah. What? Corey was there.
I was there.
Corey was not calling the game. He was handling the broadcast duties like he does here. He's a producer, if you will. It was an interesting experience because I'm not a particularly big hockey guru, right? Like I watch plenty of hockey. I watch the Caps whenever they're on and I'm home, right? Like it's not quite appointment viewing like it is when I watch the Orioles in the spring and summertime, but you know, I keep up with them pretty closely. I've watched quite a bit of hockey in my life, and I figured, hey, what the hell? I know what's going on out there a little bit. You know, if you ask me to say what was that set play, I'd be like, I have no idea. But if you ask me why did they blow the whistle there, I'd be like, okay, I know why, because that was an icing penalty, or that was offsides, or that was played with a high stick or a hand pass, and I called those things out all throughout the game, and it felt a lot of fun. Even though DeMatha got their asses kicked, was not a very competitive game for the Stags in that regard. They were down 4-0. They scored a late goal with like just a couple minutes left, if that, to stave off the shutout. But St. John's took control pretty early and never let up. But it was fun. Stephen McDonald, who we called the football games with during that season, was on play-by-play, and I did not envy him because he's having to keep up with all these numbers and names, and the puck's constantly bouncing around, and I'm like, I'm glad I don't have to do that part. I just to say what happened after the play, basically. Had some interesting moments with some hockey dads acting like assholes, which, Corey had to go put a stop to because Corey actually works there and I don't. And plus I was also calling the game. But yeah, I don't know what was going on there. Like there was a St. John's dad arguing with the DeMatha dad about something.
There was a St. John's dad who was just like standing behind the bleachers where like a DeMatha dad was, and apparently the DeMatha parent was offended by that. So he gets up and he just starts screaming, F St. John's, F St. John's.
Oh, I heard it.
And I'm like, y'all are right by a live broadcast. I'm pretty sure this is getting picked up by our headsets. I'm 95% sure that I'm going to have to go back and like erase this broadcast from the internet. So I got home afterwards and I went back to listen to that part, and I knew exactly where it was because I knew it was shortly before St. John's scored again to take a 3-0 lead.
Yep.
And that, of course, shut the DeMatha parent right up. That's probably the only time I've ever been happy to see DeMatha be down by a lot because he was being completely obnoxious for no reason. To be fair, afterwards, the St. John's dad was also obnoxiously trying to talk to Steven while he is clearly wearing a headset and trying to talk during the broadcast. I'm like, dude, I was on your side. You're ruining it.
Yeah, then he walked by me and he popped off with something saying, like, you guys got a real classy organization going here. I'm like, hey, I don't even work here. Like, don't get mad at me. I'm just calling the game.
In any case, I went back and I listened to that part. And thankfully, you can't really make out the F word. I know that's what's being said because I'm listening for it, but you can't really make that out. You can definitely hear the guy like saying St. John's in the background. Oh, thankfully, you guys were talking enough that it kind of drowned it out.
Yeah.
Well, you could also hear me screaming at one of the students.
Oh yes,
who was being an asshole.
That was great.
To the St. John's kid who was in the penalty box. We had
that's what he was doing. I was wondering what he was doing.
Yeah, so we had a few students, and of course the way the penalty box is set up, like, students can just walk right over and talk to the kids in the penalty box. So that's pretty typical during high school hockey. But for whatever reason, this kid decided to start chirping at the guy across the penalty box in the St. John's side of it, and it just kept going, and it was getting more and more ridiculous just watching him like make a clown of himself. So eventually I just had enough and walked down and just screamed, "That's enough. Cut it out." Like, I don't remember exactly what I said, but I was just like, I've had enough of this. Like, this is ridiculous. Like, you're making a fool of yourself. You're making a fool of us. Like, you are representing me and our school very poorly right now. This is not okay. And now you're making me feel like I might be representing the school poorly by yelling at you. But I'm pretty sure everybody here knows that I'm in the right and you are very much in the wrong. Coach King, our athletic director, was at the game taking pictures. He was on like the far corner of the ice. I was talking to him this week and I noticed on his desk, he's got like, it looks like pictures that you would see like a cop having taken when he's like doing a sting, right? Like, he's got 4 pictures of the kid who I yelled at from after he had gone back to sit back down in the bleachers with his friends. And he's like got a name on it. Like, he's tried, like he had to figure out who this kid was. Yeah. So clearly me yelling at him got Coach King's attention, saw the kid making a clown of himself. It was like, let me find out who this kid is.
Let's get some information on this guy here. Yeah. Like I don't know what you said because I had headphones on. Those headphones typically have some noise canceling
little bit, yeah.
capacity. And you were also at that point like 4 or 5 rows in front of where we were.
And projecting my voice away from you.
And Steven and I were talking, and there was a hockey game going on, and I was like, Corey's lighting that kid up, man. I could hear him from here. This is awesome. But yeah, it was a fun experience calling the game. Steven's a lot of fun. I liked calling football games with him. I had a good time doing the hockey game as well. Hopefully no more angry dads. I didn't. I held my tongue on the broadcast without sounding like too big of a jerk, talking smack on these hockey dads. But the whole time I was thinking, I was like, only white people act like this, right? Like, that was what went through my head. I know that's not actually true. There are moments where black parents get fired up at football or basketball games too. But I was like, this specific
only at a hockey game would be white people.
Yeah, this specific type of nonsense is exclusively for the melanin impaired. So I was just like, this is the way white people behave sometimes. So I'm just like, it's just so you got to be kidding me here, But yeah, hopefully DeMatha's hockey team plays better and has better luck. I mean, I do think that they had some misfortune. One of the breakaway goals, the ref got in the way of the defenseman, and that's what led to the odd man rush. That was a big ref too. That guy looked like he could play offensive line. I'm like, I don't know if you should be on the ice, dude. But that happened. There was a missed penalty call on a trip, which led to DeMatha getting pissed off and having some really unnecessary after the whistle contact, which led to a 5-minute penalty, which was 100% deserved. That was a dirty hit. So I don't know how good the team's supposed to be, but one game, shake it off, come back and do it again against somebody else.
They did kill that 5-minute penalty.
That was nice. I thought that gave. I hoped that gave him a little momentum, but then it didn't. It just didn't take. So, but yeah, if you need me to do it again, I'll do it again.
Well, we'll be in touch.
All right.
Figure out when our next game is going to be.
And I will add, let's do that hockey. So that concludes our hockey coverage for this season of the Sportsballers podcast. But,
until I call another game.
Yeah, that's great. Did the kid you yelled at, did he get detention?
I
or
don't
something?
know.
Somebody needs to get detention. Like, what'd you do all the yelling for?
I mean, once I saw that Coach King had a picture of the kid, I'm like, okay, it's in his hands. They'll decide what is or is not appropriate. I don't need to care about this beyond that.
Yeah, and again, Corey was keeping the whole school functioning there.
Yes.
The disciplinarian manning the switchboards or whatever, adjusting the camera manually, saying, I need you to tell me if it comes online, when he's all the way in the corner of the ice. And I'm looking at him like, no, I'm not saying anything. And it's just like, this is what this guy has to do for these things? I showed up like 10 minutes before the game started. Although the Gonzaga, whoever Gonzaga was playing, that game was just finishing up when I rolled up.
Yeah, we wound up our game started about 10 minutes behind schedule.
Yeah,
which was good because we kind of needed those 10 minutes to finish getting some stuff set up.
Yeah, it was also like some of the difficulties of seeing because just people in the way, and when the puck were in the near boards, I was like, I can't see anything. I was like moving around and stuff. I was like, whatever. Yeah, DeMatha's down 4-0. It's not that big of a deal at this point. So.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was a good time.
Alrighty. Is that it for the non-NFL portion? We don't have any mailbag or anything?
No, I think we're ready to get into the NFL.
Alrighty, the National Football League. Start with the Baltimore Ravens, who won 13-3 against the Panthers at home. And nobody is happy about this.
What an exciting game. Wasn't it still 3-3 in the fourth quarter?
Y'all couldn't cover that line. No. Like, really? I was praying that Humphrey would take that Baker pick back to the house, and so that would just be the way they covered. But really? Like, come on, y'all.
Yeah, so I don't know what happened. My family, we went to go see Wakanda Forever on Sunday. I was entertained by it.
Okay. That's good enough.
It was good, yeah.
Was it emotionally and sad stuff?
I mean, maybe I'm a sociopath and I'm out of touch with my emotions, but it wasn't as sad as I thought it might be.
Okay.
You've seen the first Black Panther movie, right?
Yes.
Okay. I just want to make sure that he has the context of the first one to know whether that had anything to do with his emotional reaction or lack thereof.
Well, it's also more the fact that Chadwick is deceased too. That adds weight to it.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. So I missed most of the early afternoon games, including the Ravens just somehow not scoring. I didn't turn my phone off. I had it on vibrate, and I was looking at my watch, and I was getting the score updates, and I'm like, where are the score updates? What is happening? Nothing is happening. So apparently the Panthers have a really good defensive front, and the Ravens couldn't move the ball. And when they did move the ball, they committed some dumb penalty, or Lamar gets sacked or something, something like that. So people are complaining about the ugly win, and my response is there's no such thing as an ugly win in the NFL. It doesn't matter. All you got to do is score more points than another team, and the Ravens did that. It's hard to win in the NFL, even against teams that are terrible, teams that are on their second coach of the season. It's still hard to win. So when you earn a victory in the NFL, you take it.
The Ravens were not the only team that had a hard time this week beating a second coach of the season team. The Eagles also had some trouble with the Colts.
Who did?
The Eagles had some trouble with the
Eagles.
Colts.
Oh yeah, I was riding in the car, and I was looking at the Eagles. Like, wait, why are they losing to Indy? What?
Yeah.
I didn't understand that at all.
Jeff Saturday's the next coming of Vince Lombardi, apparently.
Yeah. So Jeff, don't call me Big Noon Saturday. Is he a good coach? Like what?
Well, we can definitely say he's better than Josh McDaniels now, right? Like we were saying it's highly likely last week. Now it's like, well, now he's 2-0. That decides it.
Yeah, he's better than.
But he's not even 2-0. He's 1-1. But
he's better than Jeff McDaniels. He's better than Nathaniel Hackett. Wait, what?
You said Jeff.
Jeff Daniels.
Jeff Daniels from Dumb and Dumber or something?
He's probably a better coach than him too.
Absolutely.
He's a better coach than Nathaniel Hackett.
Nat Hackett, PI.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Cliff Kingsbury.
Better coach than Cliff Kingsbury.
Cliff Kingsbury was looking rough yesterday, man. Like, not just in terms of his coaching. He looks physically terrible, which is unusual because that's like the only thing he cares about is looking fresh.
I need to go back and watch some of these episodes of the mid-season Hard Knocks and see if there's any clue as to what's going on with him.
He's probably.
You should watch that. You would enjoy it. You hate Cliff Kingsbury. You get to watch him be miserable.
Yeah.
What are you sleeping on this?
I am sleeping on it. I'm gonna watch it.
You should. I haven't watched any of it, but you should watch it.
My guess is Cliff Kingsbury is just tired because the Cardinals suck and it's his fault. So he's in his office grinding, 24 hours a day almost. And like he's just not sleeping. That's why he looks a mess.
So he's tilting the windmills.
I don't know what that means.
It's a Don Quixote reference. Read a book.
Okay. Anyway, yeah. So that's why he was wearing sunglasses inside.
I haven't even read that one. I just know the reference. Anyway, I just derailed Evan's point. What are you saying?
That's why he was wearing sunglasses inside, because his eyes are so puffy and swollen. He's exhausted. Like, just put some sunglasses on, so nobody can see him and he can't see anything either.
Get some sleep, tall child.
Yes, he does. You said he looks worse. So
yeah, he doesn't look older. He just looks worse.
Yeah,
he does look worse. Speaking of looking worse. The Minnesota Vikings, that was a putrid showing out of y'all. An absolute dog of a game. 40-3 at home to Dallas. Kirk Cousins turned into a pumpkin.
Immediately. On the first drive. Immediately.
Yes. So it's not even primetime games or Monday night games or Thursday night games or Sunday night games.
It's anything that does not start right at 1 o'clock.
Yeah, games that are televised on the earth, he plays bad.
Well, the thing is, I think everybody in the world knew when Micah Parsons was chasing after Kirk Cousins. I'm like, oh, this is going to be a sack fumble for sure.
Oh, yeah.
And Kirk was the only one that didn't know.
Surprise!
He found out.
Oh, yeah, he did. And so another thing is, like, apparently this game, we know that it got pulled off a TV broadcast. Like, they middle of the third quarter, they jumped to another game. Like, I think it was like Bengals Steelers.
The Steelers, yeah.
And not only did that happen, apparently if you had Sunday Ticket, like they have like each game available, you couldn't even watch it on there.
What?
They just straight up said, "This is a murder. This is a crime scene. Move along."
Illegal in all 50 states.
Yeah, it's just
my
like
God.
this violates decency. This is an obscenity. We're not putting the rest of this on TV, but I think we still got it on Red Zone. So,
Yeah, we could still see like bits and pieces from the end. You know,
Scott
as
Hansen
Scott
has
Hansen
no
pulled us in,
regard
just-
for decency, apparently.
Yeah, every
which is fine by
touchdown
me.
from every game.
That's right. 7
Yeah, I
outs.
mean, this was the biggest blowout victory for the Cowboys in their franchise's history.
That's insane.
It was the biggest blowout loss for the Vikings since I think they said like the 40s or the 50s.
I didn't even know
When
the
they-
Vikings were around in the 40s.
So they lost a game to the then St. Louis Cardinals
lost
just
to
to
those
show how
guys?
long ago it was.
And just so how bad they
And it
were.
was like, I think they said the score was 56-14 or something. So similarly bad.
Woof.
It might have been a little bit worse, but it was similarly bad.
Okay. Yeah, not looking good out of the Vikings, so they're going to have to flush it and move on because they're playing on Thanksgiving night.
Yeah, they sure are.
You know, not that there's not going to be a lot of eyeballs on that game. Everybody's going to be sitting around with their family and stuff. You know, your relatives are going to have to watch Kirk Cousins play in addition to just you.
Yeah, how about that?
Oh.
Kirk Cousins in prime time on Thanksgiving against the New England Patriots 10 years after the New England Patriots and the New York Jets played
Yes.
on Thursday night on Thanksgiving, and we got the world famous butt fumble.
Happy anniversary.
Kirk Cousins, Mark Sanchez. Corporate wants you to find the difference between these two pictures.
Yes.
They're not the same picture. I'm not going to say that.
They're I mean, yeah, probably because, Sanchez has 4 playoff wins.
Yeah, Mark
I mean,
Sanchez can
Cousins
actually win in
has.
the playoffs.
Fair
Two
point.
AFC Championship games, 4 road playoff victories.
Yeah.
Fair point.
Yeah. So, the pictures may or may not abut each other.
That was bad, but I'll give it to you.
I'll let it go.
Yeah. Let's see. Things that have also gotten let go. Melvin Gordon, who's a bum, was sent up the road by the Broncos, and it was, I don't know, about 4 months too late. He's terrible. Oh, my God. Some idiot drafted him in our fantasy league for some reason. I don't know who did that, but he got cut today. So,
Twice. He got cut.
He lost
got
2
cut
jobs,
twice.
man.
Yeah.
I did appreciate his humor on his Instagram post where he's leaving the city of Denver in the white Bronco. He just photoshopped instead of O.J. Simpson driving the car with all the police behind him and stuff. It was like, okay, that's at least you're being a good sport about it because you're not good at football.
That
Good
is
at
pretty
the sport.
funny.
Oh my goodness, he was so bad. Like, Russell Wilson threw a little check down to him, and Gordon just bobbled it a bunch, and then when he finally caught it, he was about to get tackled. Like, you've got to be kidding me! Catch the ball and run up the field. No, he's
also-
bobbling and stuff. He puts the ball on the turf, and it gets scooped and scored by the other team. Apparently, like, I think this season or over some period of time, half of the fumble sixes that have occurred in the NFL are Melvin Gordon fumbles.
Well, because it started
He's
last
actively
year.
scoring for the other team.
Yeah, it was on either Christmas or Christmas Eve. I don't remember. It was that weekend where the Broncos were playing the Chiefs. I think it was on Christmas. And the Broncos were up by a point. They were goal to go. Like, they're about to actually pull off this upset of the Chiefs. And then who gets the ball? Melvin Gordon. What happens? He fumbles the hell out of it, and it gets scooped and scored like 95 yards going back the other way. Flips the game around, and I'm like, oh, that guy sucks. And then he blew my mind with how much he sucks this year because, like, even yesterday, he fumbled the ball again. And while the Broncos recovered it, the ball squirted out like a grape, and it shot back like 5 yards behind the line of scrimmage. So what would have been a first down carry turned into a set up a 4th and 5, and they had to settle for a field goal. And I'm like, I just like we've been killing Russ all season for being a bum, and rightfully so. He still has significantly more bathrooms in his mansion than he does touchdown passes this year.
Still has almost twice as many bathrooms in his house than he has touchdown passes this year. And we're in week 11.
Yeah,
we're past week 11.
Like, he's only on pace to throw, like, technically, like 12 and a half touchdowns.
No, I think he's officially on pace to throw, at least according to a stat I saw on Reddit last night, he's on pace to throw 11.9 touchdowns this season, and he has 12 bathrooms.
Yeah, so the difference is I gave him a break for the game he missed. So, like, I'm saying, okay, he's played 9, he's going to play
Fair.
7 more, assuming he stays healthy.
Fair.
Whereas that number is more based off of, okay, here's what he's got. He's through 9 or through 10 games, and so I gave him a break on that one. But either way, it's going to come right down to the wire whether or not he can exceed his bathroom total. Exceeding is going to be a chore. Matching, he might be able to do.
I mean, he needs all those bathrooms for all the crap he's been playing like. So, also terrible. Zach Wilson is on the verge of being benched, perhaps.
Mm-hmm.
The Patriots beat the Jets for the 14th consecutive time. This outcome was 10-3 because the Patriots returned a punt for a touchdown in the final seconds. So after the game, Zach Wilson was asked whether the offense is at fault for them losing or something along those lines. He's like, no, it's not the offense's fault. Like, I'm sorry, what are you talking about exactly? You scored 3 points.
They averaged less than 3 inches per play in the second half.
Yes, they got.
If you multiplied
2 yards,
their average yards per play by 36, you would still not be averaging a first down per 3 plays.
I'm confused, but they got 2 yards in the second half of the game. 2 yards.
That's what I'm saying. If you multiply, because there's 36 inches in a yard, so I'm saying if you multiplied their average gain per play of less than 3 inches by 36, you'd be at less than 3 yards, and you still would not be averaging a first down every 3 plays.
Yeah, it's like less than 3 yards per play is putrid production, and then you consider the fact that it's not even yards; we're talking about inches.
Yes,
2 inches of play.
And so much for an inch by inch. Life's a cinch here. Jeez.
I mean, maybe Zach Wilson thinks 3 inches is good enough. So
apparently he does.
Hopefully,
apparently he thinks that should be more than enough.
Well, hopefully his mom's friend disagrees.
Oh yeah, we'll see what happens with that. Anyway, any other takeaways? The Commanders rolled in their game.
I want to make fun of Zach Wilson a little bit more.
More?
I think you made fun of him enough with that last comment.
I'm just because like here's the thing.
He needs to be the butt of the joke here on the 10th anniversary of the butt fumble.
He is the Jets quarterback.
He
fits in well there. Booger McFarland, Boog, went on TV and talked about Zach Wilson's accountability or lack thereof.
I see nothing wrong with what he said.
And he said, this is a guy who grew up rich, had mom and pop had money, and so he never had to face any accountability. And that's possibly true, but let's not act like every rich dad lets his kid just do whatever the hell he wants.
No, but when you're talking about, so one thing to keep in mind there is like this is not a situation where Booger McFarland is trying to say that every rich kid is going to do the same thing in this situation as Zach Wilson and not take accountability. That's not what he's saying. What he's saying is that when you grow up rich and you're not forced to take accountability, your parents don't hold you accountable for things, then it becomes this. And that very well could be what Zach Wilson's past is. I mean, if he's not taking accountability in a situation like this, where it's very obvious to everybody that he is accountable for this, like, I think it says a lot about what his upbringing must have been.
Well, sure, but it also says a lot to me about how the hell did everybody miss this, right? Because if you play sports, when you're between the lines, it doesn't matter what your upbringing was, how much money you made,
Sure.
this, that, the other. If you suck, if you underperform, if you half-ass it, coaches yell at you. Your parents typically, if they give a damn, tell you need to work harder, things like that. You know, like, there's no way that this dude has gone through his entire life as an athlete and not been chewed out by a coach, or not been told he needs to pick his game up, or not been told where he made mistakes and needs to be better. So that tells me that when the Jets, and seemingly everybody else, I don't want to just put it on the Jets, said this guy should be the number 2 pick behind Trevor Lawrence, everybody was just like, yeah, absolutely, this is the guy. Not one person said, I heard some things about this kid. He's not accountable. That's not behavior that just comes out in the NFL. And it's not like this guy was just a legend in college and he could do no wrong. He lost every game against a good team he ever played. He never beat anybody worth a damn at BYU. He was terrible whenever they played somebody that was remotely good. So where were these questions? How did we all miss this? And by we all, I mean you all out there. What were you all doing when you said this guy's the second coming?
I think everybody was just sort of blown away by that one throw he made at his pro day that went viral, where he's, sort of sliding to his left, and he threw it maybe 60 yards right on the money to somebody.
So we're going to get impressed with a guy who made a really great throw while he was wearing gym shorts and throwing to wide open receivers with no defenders on the field? I thought we were smarter than that. I thought we learned from Jamarcus Russell to not trust the guy to be awesome just because he can throw the ball 80 yards while sitting on a bucket. I thought we've moved off of that. Apparently not.
Yeah, apparently not. So, he can't play.
So do you think, all right, real quick before we get off this.
More.
Make fun of him a little more. Do you guys think they should bench him?
Probably.
Oh, absolutely.
If they want to win, they should bench him.
And they're still in a playoff spot right now as it stands. So, yeah, you want to win. I think you have to.
I feel like if you bench him, that's a point of no return, which is probably fine because I think he sucks.
I'm okay with that.
I mean, did you see him? He's so bad.
This is very different than, last year when we were having, a sort of similar discussion about Tua and Ryan Fitzpatrick and whether it made sense to bench Tua. Tua was not playing great last year, but we were all kind of on the same page that, if you bench Tua, it feels like a point of no return, and we're not okay with that because we still think that Tua could be good. We feel like he hasn't really been given the chance to show what he can do yet in the NFL. And to be fair, it's not like Zach Wilson has great wide receivers he throw into, but he has some talent around him. It's not like he has a bunch of bums. And he's got pretty smart coaches as far as I can tell. They've got this team in a playoff spot despite not having Breece Hall for the past few weeks because he's been hurt and he's going to be hurt for the rest of the year. Despite starting the year with Joe Flacco, despite not having a ton of talent at wide receiver, they have this team playing really well overall. So, as far as I'm concerned, the writing's on the wall for Zach Wilson. He's not good. He's not a franchise quarterback.
Not even close. And the thing is, we watched him go head-to-head against Mac Jones, who I don't think any of us think is that good either. But it was clear which guy was being let down by his team and which guy was just stinking it up all by himself.
Which guy was letting down his team.
Yeah, exactly. Which guy was being let down by his team and which guy was letting down his team.
Yeah, Mac Jones was under siege throughout that game. He had no shot to do anything. The Jets were clearly the better team outside of the quarterback position. And my goodness, just some of those missed throws were Tebow-esque. Like he looked that bad. And one thing I can say about Tim Tebow is Tim Tebow would hold himself accountable when he played poorly.
Oh, 100%.
He would hold himself accountable throughout life no matter what. You give him that. Zach Wilson.
The crying thing, the Ole Miss speech or whatever.
Yeah, the speech that they made a plaque out of because, it was great.
Didn't they go on to win the national championship after that?
Yeah, they beat Alabama in the SEC championship game, and then they beat Oklahoma in the title game against Sam Bradford.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
I remember because I was there. I wasn't actually there, but I watched it on TV.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, when you're the quarterback, you get more credit when stuff goes well, and you get more blame when stuff doesn't go well.
And in this case, he deserves all the blame because it actually was all his fault.
Yeah, but even when it's not his fault and they lose, he's got to eat it. Okay? This is part of playing quarterback. And like if you can't do that, then where is your leadership ability? Right? Like this is what he's supposed to be doing. This is the very basic sort of press conference skill that you have to have. And I thought they went over this at the rookie symposium. Was he snoozing, or was he, looking over his shoulder at all the black people he's not used to sitting next to, or something? Like, what is the problem, Zach Wilson? Why can't you just say, yeah, we lost, and we, it starts with me, and we got to get in the film room, and we got to get in the weight room, and get to practice, and we'll iron it all out, or something like that.
Yeah, like even if you don't mean it, you got to say something like that, because right now your defense is seeing you not taking any accountability, basically saying that, yeah, the 3 points that we scored should have been enough. What the hell is wrong with you all? How do you think the defense feels about that after they held New England to 3 points for 59 minutes until
the touchdown was a special teams touchdown.
Yeah,
on defense,
right? Even that's not on the defense. Like, what are you supposed to do with that? Yeah, y'all need to pitch a shutout every single game, right? Yeah, that's realistic.
Oh, right. So they can tie. A scoreless tie after 70 minutes. Great.
I thought for sure that game was going to end in a tie until that punt return. I was like, nobody's scoring. This is going to be a 3-3 tie.
Yeah. Alrighty. So I guess we have to move on. Well, let's do the eliminate one team from the playoffs right quick. Corey cruised to a win this week. All of the teams that I picked last week let me down for the most part. It was an unmitigated disaster on the picks front.
You had 4 Lone Wolf picks. None of them panned out. I had 2 Lone Wolf picks. Both of them worked. So I went from losing by 3 points to you going into last week to coming out of last week winning by 3 points.
I'm really disappointed that the Bills couldn't hold that. Come on. What are y'all doing? Come on.
So Corey won the week going away, and Eric finished in second, and I was dead last by a mile. So Corey, you let me explain. So each week we're going to eliminate a team from the playoffs. Obviously we can't each eliminate the same team multiple times because you only get eliminated from the playoffs once. But the catch is we can't in a given week all pick the same team as well. So if you win the picks the previous week, you get to pick first and potentially throw a wrench in the plans of the other 2 guys as to who they were going to eliminate. So Corey, picking first, has eliminated the Giants, Panthers, Falcons, Commanders, Texans, Lions, Raiders, Browns, Bears, Colts, Jaguars, and now the...
Yeah, so I'm going to go ahead and hopefully throw a wrench in somebody's plans because I'm going to eliminate somebody that neither of you guys have eliminated. I'm assuming that their plane has already touched down on the return from Mexico City, but they're done. The Arizona Cardinals. Finito.
Yeah, that's probably a good pick. I mean, they can barely win any games when they have Kyler Murray play. So he's been out the last couple games, and I don't remember if they got toasted last week. Pretty sure they didn't win. So They got rocked this week by the 49ers.
Yeah, they're done.
Eric, you get to pick second. You've eliminated the Seahawks, who are probably going to make the playoffs. Falcons, Bears, Jets, Steelers, Raiders, Broncos, Panthers, Lions, Texans, your New Orleans Saints last week. And now, what you got?
Yeah, the Saints made me pay for it by when I eliminate them, and then Andy Dalton has the best game of his life. Really?
Did they win?
Yeah, they beat the Rams. You got to be kidding me.
Oh.
I think we all picked them to beat the Rams, but I didn't expect it to go that way. Let's see. I'm spoiled for choice a little bit this week because I've eliminated some teams I shouldn't have, so now I've got some easy availability. I got Cleveland on the books as an option. I've still got the Jaguars. Although the Jaguars hilariously have a positive point differential at 3-7, meanwhile the Vikings have a negative point differential, and the Giants are a +1, and they're 7-3.
I'm feeling a little bit better about my Week 1 Giants pick after this past Sunday.
Not
a whole lot better. They're still 7-3.
They got 7 wins is still alarming,
but I'm feeling a little bit better.
I'd be more worried if I were you about the commies.
I am.
Y'all.
No, I actually am more worried about them right now.
Yeah, because they're playing well.
Yeah, and with Chase Young being activated and likely coming back soon,
yeah, that's gonna help a lot. Boy, we got some options here. I'm gonna go with. Let's see. Let me just peep Evan's picks here because. I'm not trying to hose Evan. I'm just trying to see.
I already know who I'm picking. So
okay, I'm gonna kill the Browns.
Okay.
Alrighty, and I'm picking last, and I've saved this team as a break glass in case of emergency that I end up picking last. So I've eliminated the Texans, Jets, Panthers, Falcons, Commanders, Steelers, Lions, Broncos, Raiders, Packers, Rams, and I'm eliminating the Bears. It's time. They have like 7 or 8 losses at this point.
Yeah, Corey,
they don't win.
Cleveland in for Evan, not Chicago.
Whoops.
What did he write?
I put CLE instead of CHI by mistake.
Yeah.
Oh, the Cleveland Bears. Apparently the Rams used to be in Cleveland.
Yeah, they did. Justin Fields has been playing much better over the past few weeks, and yet he can't stop throwing game-sealing interceptions. And they've lost these last 3 games despite him having, at least really good fantasy stat days. Like he's getting rushing touchdowns. He's hitting Darnell Mooney downfield for whether it's touchdowns or 50-yard plays. This past week wasn't not so much, but the 2 previous weeks, he was getting Cole Kmet very heavily involved in the offense, and he was catching touchdowns and big plays, and yet they still can't win. So I think that's a pretty safe pick there.
Looking at the standings right quick, the Bears are in 16th place in the NFC. So that's not what you want.
No, it's not.
Because there's only 16 teams in the NFC. Yeah. So let's slide back up the sheet right quick. You can enter our season-long and weekly picks contest by emailing us at thesportsballers@gmail.com or slide into our Twitter DMs, at least while Twitter still exists, at sportsballers18. Send us your email address, and we will send you the ballot that Corey has created so you can submit your picks that way. Congratulations to Sean Kennedy with 5 picks correct. What?
Yeah, he only had 5 picks correct, and he won the fan contest.
Oh,
Eric
okay.
and I were that much better than the fans this week.
How many did I win?
You got 8.
Out of how many games were there?
There were 14.
Okay, so 8 and 6. That's not bad.
Yeah,
or
really
actually,
8, 4, and 2.
8, 4, and 2.
Pushes.
Yeah, so that's really not bad. That's like legit. Might actually make some money back that I've lost.
10, 2, and 2. I'm now positive on the year.
Damn Bills. It cost me a lone wolf pick there, man. It's a stupid push.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So Sean got 5, ending Andrew Perez's 3 consecutive weeks leading the fan contest. So Corey's now in the lead overall between the 3 of us. He's got 82. I have 79. Eric's got 78. James Daly leads the fans with 73.
Yeah. I'm feeling pretty good about the fact that the three of us have a little bit of a gap on the fans. Love our fans, but it makes me feel a little bit better about us being here and them, listening to us.
Yeah, wait till next year, then it's gonna flip.
Right. We're gonna have to quit.
Yeah.
All three of our fans are not doing as well as the three of us.
Might have to cook up a coaster podcast or something after that.
Yeah. Corey was the only person who picked the Panthers to cover the 13, and he was the only person to pick the Lions. Eric was the only person to pick the Bills, and that pushed. I was the only person to pick a bunch of teams that all didn't cover or whatever.
Yep.
You were due for a bad week.
I guess so.
I agree.
Corey, of course you agree.
Yeah, I agree. You're the one who doesn't believe in due.
I don't believe in due.
Alrighty. Well, I haven't had any dinner yet, so.
Neither have I. I haven't had any lunch. I haven't eaten today.
Ooh.
That's not
I
healthy.
haven't hardly eaten much either.
I know. I'm not happy about it.
You need to eat.
Yeah.
I had a bunch of pies.
Thanksgiving
Today was Pie
Day.
in Samantha.
It's not Pie Day though.
No, but like the last day of school before Thanksgiving break, the
just crush some
Samantha
pie.
Parents organization brings in pies, and the teachers get to.
What kind of pie did you have?
I had 2 slices of Dutch apple, and I had 1 slice of pumpkin pie.
Hell yeah. There you go. That's pretty good.
Yeah.
Is any sweet potato pie in there?
They did have sweet potato pie there.
Oh,
I'm not a big fan of store-bought sweet potato pie. It was like all store-bought. Like if like somebody like makes a homemade sweet potato pie, I'll usually try that. Usually winds up being decent, but I'm not a big fan of the store brands.
Oh,
Fired up for Thanksgiving, man. Crush
oh yeah. Bills minus 9.5 at Lions. 12:30 Thanksgiving afternoon. I mean, I don't know with this one, just because, like, what do I make of the Lions? Right? Are they good? Are they bad?
I feel like we killed the Lions a little early. Like, not in terms of making the playoffs. I mean, just like we kind of wrote them off. Because remember, week 1, they competed with the Eagles. Then they beat the Commies. And
they were the leading scorers in the NFL after 3 weeks.
Yeah.
And then they got shut out, I think, by the Patriots.
Yeah, that's when we quit on them.
And we were like, okay,
y'all
they're
suck.
not for real.
Yeah.
And they're not for real, but they're a talented team. Amon-Ra St. Brown is back and healthy and playing well. DeAndre Swift is kind of here and there as far as how involved he is in the offense and what he's doing.
They got Jamal Williams, baby.
Exactly, Jamal Williams has been an aberration for them this season.
A revelation.
They've got
An aberration is a bad thing.
Oh, is it? Oh,
yeah.
Well, an aberration's like a fluke. Are you saying he's a fluke?
I mean, this is a bit of a fluky season for him based on what we've seen in his past. He's been good, but like he's never been like the number 1 running back.
Well, yeah, because Aaron Jones was
there.
So maybe this is him saying, y'all
well,
should
maybe. In any case, he's playing out of his mind.
Apparition instead of an aberration.
Like a banshee?
Yeah.
Banshee's a good ride.
I'm taking the Lions, and it's less about the Lions. It's more about the point spread and the fact that I don't really trust the Bills. It is funny that the Bills are playing back-to-back games at Ford Field. One of them is a home team, and now one is as the road team. But I'm having a hard time trusting the Bills. I mean, there was a reason why I picked the Browns to cover the 8-point spread last week, and it wound up being a push.
Well, I picked the Browns because it was going to snow.
It did snow.
Yeah.
But it also had to do with the fact that I don't really trust this Bills offense right now. They're not humming on all cylinders.
Yeah, they were slacking early in the game.
Nobody might circle the snowmobiles and the snowplows like the Buffalo Bills, but I'm still saying this week, some teams circle the wagons like the Buffalo Bills because they ain't circling them all that well right now.
Well, the New England Patriots are the snowplow team.
Well, Chris Berman was the one who said nobody circles the snowplows like the Buffalo Bills. He said it last night on As Fast as 3 Minutes.
Oh, I didn't watch.
I was asleep. I'm picking the Lions.
Because the only way that they were able to get to Detroit is like a bunch of fans came and like snowplowed the players out of their homes.
Yeah, because yeah.
Anyway, go ahead. Evan.
I got the Lions as well. It's not so much the Bills' offense to me; it's the Bills' defense has been oddly toastable. I think they don't have too many. They don't have enough healthy defensive backs.
I disagree with that. I think the Bills' defense has been the best part of their unit over the past couple of weeks. Poyer's still playing out of his mind.
Didn't he get hurt? Maybe I'm thinking Micah Hyde.
Micah Hyde got hurt.
Poyer was playing this past week, and he played great.
Okay, well.
Like a Tony to Tiger, great.
Like he was the main reason that the Browns didn't win that game because Jacoby Brissett was number 1 on the best worst list at quarterback this past week.
Which I skipped.
You totally skipped that.
Yeah.
Too hungry.
Yeah, need to eat a Snickers. Yeah, but then how do you explain the 27-10? Suddenly it's not 27-10. The Bills were cruising against the Vikings, exposing them, and then suddenly the Vikings storm back. Right? Didn't Dalvin Cook run for 80-some yards on one play? They're letting Kirk Cousins play well, which is not something he does.
Cousins had a terrible game that game.
Yeah, so they're getting tired late in the game, but the offense is like not.
This is pro sports.
The offense isn't scoring in the second half of the game. The offense in the second half of the game is the Jets.
Oh, that's not
like we expect the Bills defense to be able to do what the Jets defense can't.
I didn't even understand what you said, but I'm also picking the Lions just because, Thanksgiving football is a Lions thing. Like,
we see the Lions lose on Thanksgiving.
They get their ass kicked on Thanksgiving all the time.
Didn't they get their ass kicked by the Texans that one year?
Yeah, because Jim Schwartz threw a challenge flag and he got a 15-yard penalty, and they refused to look at it because he wasn't allowed to throw it at the time.
Yeah, because it was a turnover and it was automatically reviewed.
oh,
dumbass.
Yeah.
That was so funny.
And they didn't automatically review it. They said, "Screw you. Here's a touchdown for the other team."
Well, no, he threw it before they could automatically review it, and the
Yeah.
rules said that if you challenge a play that's automatically reviewed, we won't review it, and you get a 15-yard penalty.
Yeah. No, they changed that rule.
They did change it. I don't think they should have.
keep that rule.
I think they should have kept that
Like
rule.
what they do is they just charge you a timeout for
Yeah.
throwing the challenge flag when it's a reviewable play.
Anyway, Eric, who are you picking?
Oh boy, this feels like an opportunity to lone wolf it, but at the same time, you guys are right. The Bills have been slacking. The Lions have been playing better for sure. A couple weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, I would have said 9.5 for the Bills on the road against the Lions. I said, yeah, sign me up for that. But as things currently stand, I've got to go with Detroit.
Well, congratulations to the Buffalo Bills on their 10-point win this week. So mid-afternoon, Giants at Cowboys. Cowboys are favored by 9 points. I have written down here, I already know this is a terrible pick. I already know this is not going to happen. I'm picking the New York Football Giants plus the 9 on the road, short week. I'm thinking that the Giants, they really got exposed against the Lions. Like, how do you lose to the Lions, who are terrible? They got whooped by the Lions. How does that happen? So everybody's going to have all their stuff together this week for the big game in Dallas. And, maybe Dallas is smelling themselves a little bit after beating Minnesota by 37.
I'm taking the Cowboys. 2 of the reasons, also on that best worst list that we skipped. Tony Pollard, the best running back by total DYAR this past week. And by the way, they also got Ezekiel Elliott pretty well involved in that game. Elliott scored 2 touchdowns. And yet Pollard was out of his mind. Dak Prescott played just fine for what he was asked to do.
Finally.
And the other part, Saquon Barkley repeated its back-to-back weeks as the worst running back by rushing DYAR. And I don't think this is about Saquon himself. I think this is their offensive line. And I think it is the Giants' offense as a whole being exposed for being very much one-dimensional. If you stop the run game, if you stack the box and you focus on stopping Saquon Barkley, which Saquon Barkley can't run against a stacked box. Like he's been too hurt in his career. He doesn't have the same elusiveness that he had in his rookie season. So if you stack the box against him, you're going to take him down for a short gain, and the Giants can't do a whole lot else. They got an early touchdown this past weekend with a Daniel Jones run into the end zone in a goal-to-go situation, and then they couldn't do anything from then on. So
against the Lions, who suck.
The Cowboys' defense is good. The Cowboys' offense is pretty good. Yeah, I'm taking the Cowboys in a short week at home on Thanksgiving. It's like Thanksgiving is even more so a Cowboys thing than it is a Lions thing, as far as I'm concerned.
It's a Lions lose thing. It's a Cowboys win thing.
There you go.
Thank you for filling in Cowboys for me when I didn't actually make a pick
my
yet,
bad.
Corey. But you can leave it because I'm picking the Cowboys. There's just no way in hell I'm going to take Daniel Jones to beat a team when Micah Parsons is on the other side. I mean, that's Daniel Jones is goofy and stupid and will turn the ball over like his life depends on it. And Micah Parsons is a wrecking ball of a football player. He's going to live in the backfield, and Daniel Jones is going to wet his drawers.
Okay. On to the nightcap. Patriots at Vikings. Vikings are favored by 3. Now, this is probably a dumb pick as well, and this is me buying into a narrative that might not actually exist. But Kirk Cousins turns into a pumpkin on national TV. So it's Thanksgiving, national TV. I think Kirk Cousins not only turns into a pumpkin, but a whole pumpkin pie this week. So
Tasty.
I've got the Patriots and the 3 points.
Yeah, this is a dilemma for me because you're absolutely right. It's Kirk Cousins in prime time. That's a disaster waiting to happen. But if I forget about that, and this game was being played at 1:00, it would be an easy pick, right? Like the Vikings are better than the Patriots. The Patriots are terrible. McCorkle is awful, and he and Zach Wilson are competing for the least likable quarterback in football. Like they're both just complete D-bags. So there's that. Along with Kirk Cousins, but people actually seem to like him when he takes his shirt off and dances and acts like a goofball. So
When they win.
sure, he also doesn't do it when they lose. So he at least has enough self-awareness not to act like that when they lose. I feel just as stupid for going against the narrative, Evan. I'm going to take the Vikings. I know I shouldn't because this is Kirk Cousins in primetime, and this is also Bill Belichick going up against Kirk Cousins in primetime. It just sounds like a disaster, but the rosters are the rosters, and I got to go with who I think's better.
I'm going to let Eric live on the lonely island for this
The lonely
one.
Kirk Cousins in primetime island. Good choice, because
Yeah.
I am not comfortable. I'm not having fun right now.
I am taking the New England Patriots. The thing that would make me nervous taking the Patriots would be trusting their offense, because there's no doubt that the Vikings have more offensive talent than the Patriots have. But where the Jets have a really good defense, ranks in the top 8 in both rushing and passing DVOA defensively, the Vikings are like barely at league average. Like they're not a particularly good defensive team. They're not terrible, but they're not good, which to me means that the Patriots can move the ball on them. The duo of Ramondre Stevenson and Damian Harris, who showed up this past week and actually played pretty well. They'll be able to find some running lanes and hopefully open up the passing game enough that McCorkle can do a little something. And we saw the Patriots defense, not that they needed to be amazing to stop, Wilson, but they looked really good. And they have been really good this season against everybody that they've played. And now they get to feast on Kirk Cousins in primetime. Yeah.
Well, the Ravens put up 37.
I'm feeling very comfortable taking the Patriots here. Like I'm feeling the wrong team is favored kind of comfortable here.
Ooh. Oh my.
We'll see how that plays out. That's hilarious because the Patriots, aren't they in last place?
Probably. Yeah.
I think they
well,
might
no,
still
they
be
just
in
beat
last.
the.
Well, they might just pass the Jets.
Yeah, they might. I think they passed the Jets.
And the Vikings are 8-2.
But everybody in the AFC East is making the playoffs. Everybody in the Eastern divisions is making the playoffs.
Maybe.
It's the way it's looking right now.
Definitely, I feel confident in the NFC that's very probable. But actually, the
Seahawks.
The Seahawks.
Seahawks
too,
and the 49ers. Yeah.
Yeah.
Somebody's going to miss from the East.
I feel like the Seahawks might fall off. I feel like they might fall off.
Yeah. And either the Falcons or the Packers could potentially pass another NFC's team.
Well, the Packers are toast.
I think so too.
They're cooked.
But the NFC East teams might come back to them. We'll see.
The Falcons insist on ruining their draft position every year, right? So they're gonna mess around and back into the playoffs or something.
No, they never make the playoffs. They just go like 8-9 and barely miss, and then pick like 12th.
Or they make it to the playoffs and they score 2 points against the Giants.
That was like 12 years ago.
Was it? I thought that was like.
That was 2011. So it was 11
Really?
years ago.
Oh.
I remember because it was one of my favorite playoff games to watch. Because I hate the Falcons, and it gave me joy. Like it took a little sting out of watching the Giants win the Super Bowl, knowing, yeah, but they did that to the Falcons. That was worth it.
Alrighty. On a Sunday, 1:00, Broncos -2.5 at Panthers. What am I doing with these picks? I don't even know anymore.
Why are we playing this game? Can we just nix this game? This is horrible. Why does this exist?
Maybe it'll snow 6 feet in Charlotte, and they can move it to London or somewhere else.
To London.
Yeah, London. I picked the Broncos minus the points because the Broncos defense is good, and I guess I'm a sucker for good defense, right? Like, but I went down with the ship on the Broncos last week. So, I'm just signing up for them to hurt me again. And it's probably going to happen because Broncos have a knack for playing like crap all the time, especially on offense.
The Broncos defense didn't look so hot against the Raiders.
Particularly in overtime.
Yeah, it looks pretty toastable.
But I will say, though, it was a addition by subtraction to get rid of Melvin Gordon.
It might very well
touchdowns
be,
for the other team.
but they still haven't, committed addition by subtraction by benching Russell Wilson
In
Or
favor
firing
of
Matt Hackett.
or firing Nat Hackett. I'm taking the Panthers in this one mostly because they're the home team, and I think that I don't know. They're the home team. I'm taking them.
Well, it feels like the Broncos' ceiling is super low when it comes to how much they can win a game by because they don't score any points, right? Like if they put up 17 points,
If they scored 18 points in regulation every game, they'd be 9-1.
But they didn't do that in hardly any of their games, so they're 3-7. So they stink.
Yep,
The Panthers also stink.
they do.
But the Panthers' defense is kind of scrappy.
Yeah.
Like it's not going to be. This isn't a get-right game for the Broncos' offense. Like that's not going to be how this plays. This feels like a game that could easily be won by a last-second field goal when you were down 1. So I'm going to take the Panthers and the points just because they're giving away points, right? Like if this is going to be a terrible game.
Yeah.
I'd
rather have the points in that.
Yeah, I'd rather
situation.
have the points too. I don't want to watch any of this though.
No, I don't either.
God.
Yeah, I will be in the kitchen looking for Thanksgiving leftovers. Or just watching the Ravens. Or else play 1:00. But first, we got to get to Buccaneers -3.5 at the Browns. I picked the Buccaneers in this one just because they're coming off of a bye. So the rest differential might be key here. That's really about it, though. I'm not enthused by the Broncos, and I'm less
Buccaneers.
enthused by the Browns, because aren't they 3-7 or something?
They're bad.
They lose a lot, so, and I don't think they should. So give me Tampa Bay.
I'm taking the Browns. I think Jacoby Brissett has been playing decently lately. Amari Cooper's been looking really good. Nick Chubb is still really good. And the Buccaneers are just a mess. Tom Brady doesn't look that great. Leonard Fournette, if he even plays, has not been looking very good. The wide receivers are kind of iffy, especially, considering they're trying to use Tom Brady as a wide receiver and Leonard Fournette as a quarterback.
That was a fireable play call. Like, if Byron Leftwich hadn't built up enough goodwill with us, I would be saying, dude, you need to be fired for that. Like that was
bad.
Like, even if Brady didn't slip, that's a pick. The ball was underthrown, and Tom Brady ain't going up and getting it. Tom Brady doesn't moss anybody.
That was ridiculous.
Even though he's 6'5", Tom Brady's a big dude.
Yeah, but
he just doesn't have the athleticism.
He doesn't have the verts, and he's old, man. He's a 45-year-old divorced dad.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, another crummy matchup. I'm going to take the home team because they're getting points.
I mean, that makes sense. I mean, I feel like the Browns are a little bit better than their record looks. I know that we're all big fans of Bill Parcells, and you are what your record says you are, but I mean, the Bucs record says they're 5-5, so it's not like they're that much better.
And the Vikings.
Yeah, exactly.
Vikings,
like
8-2.
Like, again, if you really are what your record says you are, then all of us should have picked the Vikings to beat the Patriots. But only one of us did, and I feel really bad that I didn't.
If you are what your record says you are, and you're, what are they, 8-2?
Yeah,
you don't lose a game 40-3.
Generally not, no. Unless you're playing like the 2007 Patriots or something.
Or you're playing like the Week 3 Buffalo Bills from this season.
Yeah, the juggernaut that was going to win the Super Bowl, and nobody circled the wagons like them. Yes, like that team. Yeah. Anywho's, this is tough because, I can't quit touchdown Tom. But
what about his former backup?
Jimmy Garoppolo? Or Jacoby Brissett.
Yeah, Jacoby Brissett.
I like me some Jacoby Brissett. He's pretty good.
Yeah.
He doesn't get his due. Give me the Bucs.
All righty. Also 1 o'clock, Ravens -4 at Jaguars. I am reluctantly picking the Ravens and laying the points. At Jaguars, I think historically for the Ravens has been a house of horrors for some reason. Particularly like 2011 was a Monday night. Ravens went 12-4 that year, but lost to Jacksonville in Jacksonville because we couldn't even get a first down until most of the way through the third quarter. Like, what is going on in that stadium, right? Like, there's always questionable goings on at Gillette Stadium, but what is the deal with particularly the Ravens at Jacksonville? Does this go back to like the AFC Central days or something? Like, something is weird. But that said, like I said last week, the Ravens should beat Jacksonville by more than 4. The Ravens should have been able to beat the Panthers by more than 13. So, we'll see.
Yeah, I feel like this line probably came in a little bit lower than what it should have been because of the Ravens' inability to cover against the Panthers. And that makes me feel a little bit more comfortable taking the Ravens here. I believe the Jaguars are also coming off of a bye. I don't think that
the Ravens are not.
And the Ravens are not. I don't think that's going to play too much into this. The one thing to watch here is going to be how the Jaguars use Travis Etienne, because I think he can eat up the Ravens a little bit. But the Jaguars' defense doesn't have much going on for it.
Calais Campbell's on the other side.
Not that the Panthers really really had a whole lot going for them either on defense. But I think the Panthers' defense is better than the Jaguars' defense.
The Panthers' defense has some decent young talent on the front.
Yeah, the Jaguars don't really seem to have that. And so I think that it's going to be much easier going for the Ravens. Big thing is that I want to see Lamar throw the ball a little bit more. Like, the Ravens' passing game is just kind of not really there. But they're also not really using him in the run game. Like, what is Lamar doing right now? Like, what are they using him for? What is their game plan for Lamar? That's going to be really important to figure out this week. But I'm taking the Ravens.
It would help if Lamar wasn't throwing it to the wrong team a whole bunch.
Well, yeah.
Picked him to win MVP, and that's not gonna happen.
I think the MVP is just about a wrap at this point.
Yeah, Patrick Mahomes the MVP.
Yeah,
that's it. Like, which duh. Like he should be. He's the best quarterback in the league, and has been that. There have been some people that pretended otherwise, but it's been pretty obvious for 5 years now. I don't care if Aaron Rodgers is winning back-to-back MVPs. I was always much more terrified of Patrick Mahomes because he's way better.
Who did we all take, Evan? I see you looking through your notes right now.
You guys took Josh Allen.
That's what I thought, is that we both took Josh Allen.
I chose Lamar to be different.
I don't even see that. Really? The last entry I have in here is from our baseball predictions. Like back in April.
So you have a different notepad somewhere.
Oh, I guess so.
Anyway, Ravens.
Okay.
Ravens and the points. I'll lay the points.
Oh no, here it is. I picked Aaron Rodgers.
Oh, oof.
Well, that was bad.
Ouch.
Wait, what? No, this isn't. I don't even think this is the right year. Yeah, no, I went a year. This is a year too old.
Yeah.
Okay.
Anyway, moving on to Texans Dolphins.
Anyway, yeah. Texans Dolphins. Dolphins favored by 13. This was just too many points for me, so I picked the Texans. 13 is a lot. I mean, we know the Dolphins' offense is potent, and we know the Texans are garbage. But 13 points just sounded like too many, so I got Houston.
I feel like I'm just underestimating the Dolphins and their offense. I don't trust them to be as good as they have proven that they are. Like, Tua has been fantastic. Honestly, if the season ends today, he's probably the runner-up for MVP based on the way he's been playing. And I could see why somebody might vote for him over Patrick Mahomes as MVP. Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle, fantastic. Jeff Wilson and Raheem Mostert, awesome. Defense, maybe not quite as good as it had been over the past 3 or 4 years, but still serviceable. I feel like I'm underestimating them, but I'm with Evan on this. The 13 points is just a little too steep for me. I'm taking the Texans.
Tua's got a DVOA north of 50 still.
He does.
That's,
They're coming off a bye.
Historic.
And they're at home.
I feel like Tua, I will go as far as to say Tua would be the MVP if he hadn't missed time due to his head injuries. Like, I will say that with confidence.
If he maintains this through the rest of the year, do you think that he could potentially be the MVP?
I think it's going to be really tough if Patrick Mahomes continues to play the way he has to. Just because Mahomes, not only is he right there, like, he doesn't have the same efficiency as Tua does, but his team relies on him a bit more because their running game has been iffy, their defense isn't very good. And he's been healthy, and the Chiefs have the best record in the conference. And, oh, by the way, Mahomes is doing this despite the fact that he had his best receiver go play for Tua instead and seemingly has turned Tua into a star. When Tua, we were questioning whether or not he was even a starting quarterback in the NFL. Now we're like, well, damn, this guy might be MVP. Patrick Mahomes lost that dude, and yet he's still cooking. So I would still give it to Mahomes. Mahomes would have to have, I think, some rough games in order for Tua to really have a shot at it. But he's been fantastic. He's played at an MVP level, I will say that much. And the Texans are way worse than I thought they would be. Like, I thought they'd be bad. I didn't think they would be this bad. And I'm gonna go for it. I'm gonna take the Dolphins and lay the points.
I would much rather be taking the Dolphins there. Like, that's a lot more fun.
Well, because you hate to sit there and be like, can you guys, I know you guys suck, but can you please keep it close-ish, maybe?
Or also, like, rooting for the Dolphins not to score, especially when I have Jalen Waddle on my fantasy team.
Yeah, and they're fun. Like, you like watching.
Like,
you like watching
I
Tua
want
throw
Waddle to
bombs.
go off. I want him to score 3 touchdowns.
Like, watching Tua throw bombs to Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle is a delight. Watching the Texans be terrible and hoping they're just a little bit less terrible than usual that's not fun for anybody.
No, it's really not.
Moving on, Bears at Jets, where the Jets are favored by 4.5 points. For me, I picked the Jets minus the points. Maybe the Jets come to their senses and pick one of their good quarterbacks to play. Bears.
They have good quarterbacks?
Better.
Yeah, better, sure, but I don't think they have any good quarterbacks on their
If they did, this
roster.
wouldn't be an issue. They just play
one
him
of their
and they win more
relatively
games.
good quarterbacks. Or, my favorite quarterback on their team. Play him. Right?
Okay.
There you go. That's it. We've arrived.
Yeah. The Bears' defense is terrible. Justin Fields has been great, but he's still shown some issues. Throwing a pick six to his college teammate, for example. So that's what's got me leaning away from the Bears. And we've already talked about on this podcast tonight as well. The Jets' defense is tremendous. So, if the defense stops the Bears' offense, we know the Bears' defense is not going to stop the Jets' offense, no matter who's quarterbacking it. So, give me the Jets.
Yeah, the Jets' defense is very good. The Bears' offense is better than the Patriots' offense. So the Jets' defense is not holding them to 3 points, which means that the Jets' offense needs to score more than 3 points. And even against the Bears' defense, that might be a tall order. The Jets probably need to score more than 10 points. They probably need to score more than 13 points, quite frankly. And I get that Justin Fields has, had a knack over these last few weeks of throwing game-stealing interceptions, but the Bears have been in those games. And to me, 4.5 is too much. I'd much rather take the points and pick the Bears in this situation because they don't have to win. They just have to be close. And I think
you
they
are
will
taking
be.
the points and picking the Bears.
That's what I'm at. I don't want. I'm not going to lay the points.
Yeah. The funny thing is, when you said that the Jets are going to need to score more than 3 points to win this game, they automatically need to score more than 3 to cover the spread because the spread's 4.5. So, the Bears can't score negative points. The Jets will try as hard as they can to score negative points, but it's technically not allowed. Yeah, I'm going to take the Bears too, just because I feel like Justin Fields will do something magical like twice and lead a couple touchdown drives. He might throw some bad picks or a bad pick. The Bears' offense is trash. They don't have any good receivers really to throw to. I don't care about Mooney or Kmet. Those guys are not that good. And the offensive line is trash. And the Jets' defense is pretty good, but a couple of scoring drives led by Justin Fields just doing Justin Fields things should be enough because the Jets have Zach Wilson probably starting, and he sucks. So I'm not interested in laying 4.5 behind the Jets after what I just saw last week. I can't do it.
Okay. Moving on, Bengals minus 1.5 at the Titans. I picked the Titans in this one because, I feel like the Titans are kind of underrated as much as I hate the Titans. I can't stand the Titans. I think the Titans are kind of underrated. They don't get a lot of national recognition. There's still what still sticks in my mind is them getting boat raced by the Bills back in week 2. But the Titans front four is really good on defense. And who on the Bengals is stopping Derrick Henry? Who is it? Exactly.
I feel
like we gassed Derrick Henry's impact a little bit too much, to be honest. Like,
Okay. Well, I mean,
I disagree with that, but also I like what the Titans did this past week. I mean, they got, even beyond getting Austin Hooper back involved, because I don't expect Austin Hooper to be a consistent difference maker in their offense going forward. He'll have bursts, he'll have games where he comes up big, and he'll have games where he completely disappears, because that's what Austin Hooper has done over the course of his career, with the exception being that one season with Atlanta. But Treylon Burks got very heavily involved this past week and looked really good in that offense. Ryan Tannehill played within himself and used his receivers very well. And Derrick Henry has been fantastic, and we're into that part of the calendar where he tends to only pick up steam. I am also taking the Titans here. They're at home, getting points, or 1.5 anyway. And the Bengals still probably are not going to have Jamar Chase this week. He's off his crutches. He's going to be back soon. But it doesn't seem like he's very likely to play this week. Yeah, that's kind of where I'm at.
I think the Bengals are better than the Titans, but this is quite a bit to be on the road.
It's also Tuesday, and we haven't gotten a chance to see what the outcome of Joe Mixon's injury was.
yeah, concussion.
I don't care about Joe Mixon. I do like the fact that Ryan Tannehill's back, because Malik Willis is, maybe someday he'll be it, but right now he ain't. Not even close. And I think the fact that, like you said, Corey, Treylon Burks and Tannehill have got a little bit of a rapport going. That play action game they desperately need, that they relied upon with A.J. Brown last year. They're obviously not going to get that level of production, because A.J. Brown is amazing and Treylon Burks is a rookie. And asking anybody to be as good as as A.J. Brown is a big ask, especially for a first-year player. So I'm still going to take the Titans. I'm not going to lay the points. I'm going to take the 1.5 points. It feels like these teams played in the playoffs last year, and the Titans had no business losing. But Ryan Tannehill played probably the worst game of his career at the worst time. I don't think he's going to do that again.
Also, I mean, the Bengals spent all that money in draft capital on their offensive line. It's still bad.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they can't. I don't think the Bengals are going to be able to block the Titans. I don't know that Burrow's going to get sacked 9 times again. But
you also don't know that he won't.
Yeah. He's going to get sacked a few times, certainly. A game that nobody wants to see. Falcons at Commanders. There'll be dozens of people at FedEx Field. So y'all enjoy. Commanders are favored by 4, and I am picking the Falcons. Probably foolishly. I can't even articulate why.
This feels like such a silly line. Like, this should be like a 3-point line. Like, these... How are you going to tell me that the Commanders are better than the Falcons on a neutral field? They feel like they're basically on the same line as each other. Yeah, I'm taking the Falcons. Like, the Commanders will probably wind up winning, but I don't think they're going to win by more than 4 points.
I don't bet on the Falcons unless, I absolutely have to. Not just because I hate them, but because they're a really bad bet most of the time.
So you bet on Washington instead?
Sure. Heineke's playing well. The Commies are playing well. They're looking like a playoff team. Like,
potentially.
For real. The Falcons, I don't care if they're 5-6, they're not making the playoffs. Mostly because I already eliminated them. So they better not. Yeah, give me the Commies. Why not? I think they're 4 points better than the Falcons, even with their crappy home court or home field advantage. Yeah, sure, why not? They're playing well.
All right. On to the 4 o'clock window on Sunday. Chargers -4.5 at the Cardinals. I mean, the Cardinals, like we say every week, and like what happens every week, they play up or down to their competition. The Cardinals are hot garbage. Who did the Chargers play this past week? Did they play
played
close
the
games?
Chiefs. They played the Chiefs in primetime Sunday night.
Okay. Yeah.
And they blew it again.
Yeah, they did.
Oh, well, I mean, in what comes as a surprise to absolutely nobody. So, yeah, the Cardinals are garbage, and the Chargers are going to play as bad as the Cardinals are. With that said, I'm out on the Cardinals this year, like, just totally done with them. So I've got the Chargers. Maybe they hold on to this one.
I'm out on the Cardinals. I'm also out on Brandon Staley. I'm out on both of these teams.
Their coaches.
I'm expecting this to be like, I don't know, a 10-7 or 13-10 game or something, which means that the Cardinals are going to cover one way or another. It doesn't matter who wins in either of those scenarios. The Cardinals win here. So I'm taking, against my better judgment, Cliff.
Your boy.
The king of Barry.
The Cardinals have thoroughly quit, and I don't think the Chargers have at this point. They're 5-5. They've still got
That's fair.
playoff aspirations. So I'm going to take the Chargers.
That's fair. I'm feeling a little bit worse now, but that's okay.
Why? Because you're on the lonely island here with Cliff Kingsbury.
Yeah, I
It's
don't like
hey,
that.
Hey, I'm on the lonely island with Kirk Cousins.
You
in prime
are.
Time, so,
Neither of us are feeling too good about those.
We gotta pick our battles, man. Like that's the exercise, as Evan said.
That's the exercise. Yes, indeed. Let's see. Also at 4 or 5, Raiders at Seahawks. Seahawks favored by 3.
Hold on. I don't understand. The Raiders are playing the Chiefs and the Seahawks the same week?
No, that should be Rams Chiefs.
Oh.
Well, that
Okay.
changes things.
That changes everything. Oh my goodness. Come on, Corey.
Gotta recalibrate now.
Yes. Yeah. I have a pencil and I'm scratching stuff out anyway. Raiders at Seahawks. No wonder the Raiders have been playing so bad. They've been doing a split squad every week. And they still beat Denver. Raiders at Seahawks. Seahawks by 3.5. I'm taking Seattle just because Seattle's like kind of good. And the Raiders are definitely not good. The Seahawks seem to be the whole is more than the sum of the parts, whereas the Raiders are not more than the sum of the parts. Like they have all these good players, guys who are supposed to be good. You know, Derek Carr.
Derek Carr's a good quarterback. Josh Jacobs has been playing out of his mind at running back.
Yeah,
Devontae Adams is a really good wide receiver.
Yes.
And yet somehow this team stinks.
Yeah. Yeah.
Max
Look no further
Crosby.
than the two coaches.
Got some good players on defense, and the defense isn't good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. What's the problem? I don't know. But
Sounds like a
Seattle.
coaching issue to me.
Yeah. You know, a coaching issue with Josh McDaniels has no idea what he's doing compared to Pete Carroll, who is not only the oldest coach in the league, but has won a championship in college and in the pros.
Well, does the championship he won in college still count? Didn't they take that away?
I
don't know.
Yeah,
I think it was vacated, but I
was
don't
vacated.
care.
All
about
I
that
know is
still.
that, when Derek Carr plus Josh Jacobs plus Devontae Adams doesn't equal good, something's going
wrong.
on there. It's like when 3 plus 4 plus 5 doesn't equal 12.
Come on, Corey. Come on, Corey.
I did that for Evans enjoyment. So when that does not equal 12, you know that somebody behind the scenes is pulling some units out of there.
You would think so. I also think that Derek Carr is, the definition of good, not great. Like he feels like the guy that's always going to be the 12th best quarterback in the league, which is fine.
That still should be better than the Raiders record this season.
100%. Yeah, because the 12th best quarterback with a bunch of good weapons can sometimes end up almost winning an MVP.
Yeah.
Right?
Like Jimmy Garoppolo.
Well, Jimmy Garoppolo never almost won an MVP, but, you know.
Like Jimmy G taking the 49ers to the Super Bowl.
Yeah. That's an
despite
example.
the fact that he sucks.
He sucks, but he's also got Kyle Shanahan, who's good, and, well, you know, Josh McDaniels is the opposite of that.
Did y'all see on Come On Man last night how a bunch of 49ers players went to a Warriors game and the Warriors dance team came over to greet the 49ers players and they only greeted Jimmy G and just ignored the other guys?
Which is a shame because Christian McCaffrey was there, and Christian McCaffrey's really handsome too. What's going on?
Debo Samuel's not a bad looking dude either.
George Kittle. You know, but he looks like an Iowa tight end. Let's just put it that way.
And I can't say that I know offhand what Brandon Ayuk looks like without a helmet on.
Well, it was only white guys in the clip, so.
Yeah. I recognize.
Still, Christian McCaffrey should be getting a little bit of attention there too.
Yes, he should. But you know, Jimmy GQ, baby. Yeah, that's he's got the magic smile. I'll give him that. Anyway, we're talking about Raiders Seahawks. Which now I've lost my train of thought. Oh, I was going to comment on Derek Carr, which was something else on Twitter. I got a kick out of that, even though it was from a really bad source in Antonio Brown. But, you know.
I appreciated Derek Carr's response.
Playing along with it. That's what made it funny.
Exactly. Yeah.
Is Carr looking chunky?
No, it was
No,
it was a
it was a
photoshopped
photo-
image of him looking like with a really fat face, and it was Derek Carr.
Yeah. It was tweeted by Antonio Brown. But I appreciate that Derek Carr took it in good humor.
Yeah, he had fun with it. The Raiders are terrible. The Seahawks are surprisingly good. I think this season's sort of a vindication of Pete Carroll. Like, we all gave him gas for, he's ruining Russell Wilson. He's not letting him cook. And so, well, it turns out maybe Pete had a little understanding of why he wasn't letting Russ in the kitchen, because he might end up with Pop-Tarts with cheese on them. So, you know, that's not great. And, you know, he's got this ragtag team that I still don't think is that talented, and he's got them in playoff position. I mean, they're still in first place in their division, aren't they?
Yeah.
I mean,
Geno Smith.
Yes.
Balling out.
Shout out to Geno Smith for, you know, he didn't really get a fair shot, I think, with the Jets because, one, they're the Jets, and two, he lost his job due to injury, and that injury was he got knocked out by his teammate. You know, like that's cold. Like, that 2015 Jets team was actually pretty good. But Geno Smith didn't get a chance to quarterback them because he had a broken jaw. And then Ryan Fitzpatrick, of all people, goes in there and has the best season of his life. And we had to put up with him playing football for another 5 years because of it. It was really irritating. Anyway, that's my thing. Seahawks.
Yeah, I'm taking Seattle as well.
You typed in She-Hawks.
Put the H too early. Yeah. It's going to be Seahawks.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah.
With a double A in there?
Oh, well, that's what it was going to end up being because it was a typo.
Oh,
like, it wasn't purposeful.
Okay. Let's see. Next at 425, Rams at Chiefs. This game was assigned to be 425 because the Rams won the Super Bowl, and they don't look like it at all. So the Chiefs,
just a couple of years ago, this game scored 100 points.
Oh,
in a game that was supposed to be in Mexico City, by the way.
Oh yeah, that was in 28. It's been 4 years since that game.
It has been.
Wow.
It's crazy.
Why didn't they play that game in Mexico City?
I thought Shakira had a concert and ruined the field.
Yeah, and then they had to move back to L.A. where this town was on fire.
Yep.
Great.
Upgrade, you know?
Yeah.
Give me the Chiefs big, right? Like, you know, they're going to have to cut away from this game, too. It's going to be bad. I don't know if it's on CBS or Fox. I think it's on... Yeah, I don't know which one. They're going to have to cut away from this game, too. It's going to be a disaster. The Chiefs might be up by 30 at halftime. The Rams have no players, right? Like,
Stafford's back in the concussion protocol. I assume he's not going to play this weekend.
He's back in the concussion protocol?
That's why he left the game early this past weekend.
I thought he was out. I thought they said he wasn't in concussion protocol, though.
Oh, is that?
You might want to look that up.
Okay, yeah.
I don't think it matters because he's been booty
It doesn't
butt cheeks
matter.
anyway.
No, Cooper Kupp was their whole offense. He's not walking through that door.
So they have yet to place him in the concussions protocol, but that doesn't mean that he's not going to be in it.
I don't care.
Yeah.
I'd take Chiefs minus 30 on this one.
I don't know about that, but
That might be a little steep. But yeah, I'm
Chiefs minus 29.
I'm taking the Chiefs because I don't want to think about this game any more than I have to.
yeah, when it was Raiders at Chiefs written in here, I was like,
AFC West.
I had the
I was
Raiders.
like, come on, Raiders.
typically are a
Yeah, like
little
the
bit-
Raiders and the Chiefs always play each other close, no matter what. Like they played each other close earlier this year. The Chiefs should, or the Raiders should have won that game.
Yeah.
I was like, you kidding me? I get 14.5 points, and that's like Rams. I'm like, oh.
Ew.
And who would have thought that at the beginning of the year I'd be saying, I like the Raiders better against the Chiefs than the Rams. Like, that doesn't make any sense. Like what? It was, the hook makes it somewhat interesting.
Yeah, it does.
But not enough. I'm taking the Chiefs.
So it can't just be a straight, 2
Yeah,
touchdowns.
just a clean 28 to 14 win or a 21 to 7. But I think the
I just
Chiefs
don't
are
want to
gonna,
think about this game anymore.
Yeah,
than
I
have
don't.
to.
I don't want to have to pray that the Rams hold on. Although they gave the Saints, they didn't cover against the Saints either. So that's
Were we all on the Saints last week?
yeah, we were all on the Saints
Yep.
because the Rams are terrible. I eliminated the Saints and then picked them to cover the spread, and they did.
And they did. Saints at 49ers, where the Niners are favored by 9 points. And it's not enough points for me. I've got the 49ers. The 49ers defense is incredible. And the Saints, I mean, they played well against a team that doesn't have any players on it, right? So, the 49ers have good players.
Oh, yeah,
And the Rams
Yeah, a
really
lot of
don't
them.
anymore. Yeah, there's a lot of them. Not including Jimmy G, though. Not him. He's not good. But yeah, Niners roll the Saints. The 425 slate. Like, these were supposed to be good games when the schedule's laid out. It's not going to be like that.
Yeah, no, none of these are going to be really that good at games.
Wait till we get to the Sunday night.
At least we have 4 of them, though, this week. It's been a little while since we had 4 games in that window. So at least we'll be able to, Scott Hansen can usher us through all of them. Through
Because
the
he's totally
afternoon.
not taking a bathroom break.
Might take a post witching hour nap here. To be honest, like this is horrible.
Might be fair. I don't like that line, but I'm going to take the 49ers to win by double digits. So there you go.
I mean, the Saints, dating back to the Dome Patrol, do not have the best of luck against this franchise.
No, they don't.
They don't have the best of luck against them when I've been rooting for them either.
Alex Smith to
Davis,
Vernon Davis, anybody?
the George Kittle running down the field while Marcus Williams is grabbing his face mask the whole time and can't push him out of bounds. And it was a 4th down, by the way. Like that happens. There's a couple other ass kickings that the Saints had against this team. They did win the game where Drew Brees' neck got extended by about 2 feet.
I remember that.
Like they won that game, and I think they also won a game against them where Drew Brees broke all his ribs. But these are the things that have to happen to the quarterback in order for them to beat the 49ers, it seems.
Yeah.
I
And
thought he only broke 13 ribs, and apparently people have 24 ribs.
Yeah, I found out that we had 24 ribs because Brees broke 13. I was
I was
like,
like, wait a
he
second,
broke more ribs than we have? I thought we had like
Oh, we had
12.
12.
I was like, well, they actually got
I
24.
definitely thought
I
we
was
only
like,
had 12.
It's like,
Yeah,
holy
he broke-
crap.
Brees broke the full rack of ribs and one more.
Yeah, unbelievable. His ribs switched sides like me on Skyliner.
Oh,
That was
jeez.
Jeez.
Yeah, a whole butcher's dozen of ribs.
Oh my god. Anyway,
That's tremendous.
49ers.
I love that.
I'll lay the points. The Saints are bad. The 49ers are rolling at this point. They look like they could actually win the NFC. Again, with Jimmy Garoppolo, who sucks. Yeah, so give me San Francisco, and then I'll lay the 9.
I mean, they probably should have won the NFC last year because Stafford pointed to where he was going to throw an interception,
Jaquiski
and the guy
Tartt
dropped
or
it.
whatever dropped the ball.
Yeah. Yeah, amazing. Packers at Eagles, Sunday Night Football. Eagles favored by 7. Jeez, they're doing all of America a favor so everybody can be rested on Monday morning at work.
I don't have to go to
Eagles
work on Monday.
roll. So
Monday off,
the
too?
Packers.
Yeah, we raised enough cans in the food drive.
That's right, because I was being a muckraker or whatever you could say. I was a dissenter. I was encouraging one of your students to rebel against you, giving them a day off if they do enough work for it. And I'm like, although you did say you used to, they'd have to earn the Friday off or the Wednesday off.
No, we earned the Monday off.
Okay.
We get Wednesday off because so many families travel for Thanksgiving.
That's true.
But we always have to come back on Monday unless we raise a certain number of cans in the canned food drive.
I've never heard of that in my life.
Yeah, that wasn't the case when we were in school.
Back in my day.
Back in my day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What is going on?
Well, back
Like,
in
all
our
these
day, we
days
didn't have
off.
to be, encouraged to bring in canned food items. Most of us didn't have to be encouraged.
I ran the food drive one year. Like I was
Oh, really?
heavily involved in that.
I didn't know that, which tells you that I didn't give any food.
Yeah,
'Cause I didn't see it.
because you're a terrible person.
No, I gave food. But I said,
My
hey,
mom
Mom,
was
I need
pretty
some
mad
food. Said, give me some cans of corn or something. Throw it in the pile.
Yeah, my mom would find out the canned food drive and be like, "Oh, it's perfect because we have all this food out in our garage that we have not, used and we're not going to use." So
Hope it's
here,
not
take it."
expired. Expired.
Expired.
Pretty sure she didn't give expired food to the
be
canned
messed
food
up.
drive. That would be messed up.
That was the plot of an episode of Malcolm in the Middle when
was.
they were the
It was,
recipients
sure
of some
was.
canned food, and Hal thought he was eating olives and they were peaches, and he had to go to the hospital to get his stomach pumped.
That was a great episode.
Yeah.
Anyway, back on the Packers-Eagles Sunday Night Football game,
Yeah.
where the Eagles are favored
roll.
by 7.
Yeah. Eagles roll. Eagles big.
I don't like this line because the Eagles are pissing me off. The Eagles beat the Colts by 1 measly point.
Okay, but you
They
know
should
the
have
deal.
beaten them by so much more.
You know the deal.
Fade the Packers.
Yeah, fade the
I'm
Pack.
taking the Eagles,
Yeah.
even though I don't like it.
Yeah.
Fade the Pack.
I love it. Fade the pack. Give me the Eagles.
Monday Night Football. Pittsburgh Steelers at the 2.5-point favorite Indianapolis Colts.
This isn't a real game. Like, come on. This season sucks. I'm just gonna say it. Like, oh my
Whole
god.
thing.
Like, more than half the games every week are just like, oh, which one of these crappy teams do we have to pick to win? It's just terrible.
Yeah. So, Jeff, not Big Noon Saturday. I think he runs out of his covering every week luck this week. I'm picking the Pittsburgh Steelers again. Oh,
How'd that work out for you last week?
no, it didn't work out. I probably had the Steelers the week before that, and they didn't cover either. So, I don't know.
Bye.
TJ Watt's back.
Your boy.
The Colts ran 6 plays on the drive after the Eagles scored the go-ahead touchdown. And on those 6 plays, Jonathan Taylor was on the field for none plays, and Deion Jackson was on the field for 6 plays, despite Taylor not being hurt.
Who is Deion Jackson?
He was the guy who
No idea.
he's the guy who Brandon picked up, and he scored like 27 points the week that first week that Taylor was hurt and Hines had just been traded.
Still don't know who Deion Jackson is. That sounds like a made-up name. He picked Deion Sanders and Lamar Jackson, just smush them together. It's a portmanteau, and just
So
make up something.
that alone kind of tells me that Jeff Saturday may be better than some of these other coaches, but he still ain't good. Mike Tomlin is a good coach.
Mm-hmm.
Kenny Pickett, not a good quarterback, at least not yet, but he might become one, and he's playing decently lately. And George Pickens looks really good.
when he's
and-
not getting ejected from the game.
Yeah, when he's not getting ejected from the game. But he was there for most of the game before he got ejected this week. So, he's still giving them a good 55 minutes. And between him and Deontay Jackson, both
Or Deontay Johnson.
Deontay Johnson, sorry.
Another smush.
Najee
made
Harris,
made-up
another
people.
player on our best and worst list that we did not talk about. Najee Harris was the best running back by rushing DYAR this past week. I'm taking the Steelers in this game. That's an easy call. The wrong team is favored here. Oh, and T.J. Watt is back.
I mean, Kenny Pickett might be better than the aged remnant of Matt Ryan.
Oh, he's absolutely better than Matt Ryan is right now. He's way better than Sam Ellinger.
Oh,
Couldn't beat
jeez.
the Terps.
Eric?
Steelers.
Okay.
I mean, come on. I don't want to say anything else about this. Steelers.
Another one.
I
Everybody
should
can
have
go
just
to bed
taken the
early.
Chargers in that first 4 o'clock game. We'd have a clean. We wouldn't have any lone wolves from after 1 o'clock on Sunday.
Well, these games suck, man. Like,
Now we have to sit through that game to potentially find out who wins the week and gets to eliminate a team first next week.
I'm just
It's all my
I'm
fault.
just trying to not be under 500. You know, like, that's the whole thing. Preferably try to get back to the point where I'm actually would have won money, but we're a ways from there.
I just
What does your
gave all my
percentage
money
have to
back
be?
to the
What
sports.
is your winning
Like
percentage?
52.3.
Okay.
Like, you got to win probably, like, the ratio is like 11 out of 21.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
That's the break-even
that's
point.
52.4 basically once you round it up.
Yeah.
Okay. That's all the games.
Yes, it is.
Thankfully.
But wait, we're not going to talk about the beautiful game? Each trip
No.
down the pitch is a beautiful tapestry? The World Cup is on?
No.
Soccer, and particularly soccer fans, just make me want to vomit. I'm sorry.
I'll admit I
some of
watched
y'all
the
are a bit
game on
much.
Monday.
I don't even know whether Poland and Mexico wound up going to a tie today, even though like I kind of care about Poland because I'm Polish.
I didn't know that they were playing each
Well,
other.
the only reason
you were
the only reason I even know they were playing is because they were playing it in the cafeteria during lunch at DeMatha today.
Yeah, I only knew that
I went and
America
got my
was
food
playing
and
the
left.
Welsh, and they're playing England on Friday, and they tied, and everybody's upset. I was disappointed that they blew the lead, but I was like, okay,
I
whatever.
know that Qatar was the first team ever to lose the first match in a World Cup that they're hosting.
Well, it's, you know, they got some debts to pay. You know, from
There's
the
a dozen
thousands of
people that live in Qatar, right?
and
Like,
most of them died building the stadium
Well,
because
no,
they were
most
slaves.
of the ones who died.
well, the people who
building
died
stadium
were
don't-
from other countries.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. The people, like, they're from Nepal and
And
India.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Places that don't have a whole lot of oil money. All right. Are we done? The stupid soccer's going on.
Yes.
You can watch that crap if you want. I'm not. So I think
watched
that's
America.
it. Yeah, that's it. I haven't eaten any dinner. Eric hasn't eaten any lunch or dinner
Or breakfast.
or breakfast.
Or a snack.
You fasting? Like what?
No.
You need to eat.
I know. I'm going to eat once we're done with this.
All right. So I don't have anything else to add. Do y'all have any? Were there any Woj bombs or anything happen? And do y'all have any shout outs before we sign off for real?
I want to shout out Brandon Moore, the OG, not original, but the offensive guard, whose hindquarters Mark Sanchez ran into 10 years ago to this day. In fact, maybe even 10 years ago, almost to this minute, as we're wrapping up this podcast at 9:20 p.m. He was the player who Mark Sanchez ran into face first to cause that glorious play that we all know and love. So
Yes,
shout out
Brandon
to
Moore provided the butt in the butt fumble. Apparently, the all-time record for points scored in one quarter of football is 41. And the Patriots scored 35 points in the second quarter of that butt fumble game. So I was listening to ESPN Daily today.
With Pablo?
And, yes, with Pablo. And there was a guest on who was a Jets fan who was at the butt fumble game and is one of the producers on the show. And he was like, the Jets were one offensive lineman's ass away from setting the all-time record for points allowed in a single quarter, which was spectacular. Sometimes it's like that. So congratulations to the Jets and Mark Sanchez and Brandon Moore on a play that will live in infamy forever. Yeah. And I mean, did I already ask any shout outs or anything? Nothing happened that's noteworthy.
Corey gave a shout out to the Buff Humble guy.
Yeah. Eric, you have any?
Yeah, shout out to Frederick Meyer Jr. or the second, aka my grandfather, who turned 98 today. So happy birthday to him. Yeah. And shout out to Nas for dropping King's Disease 3, which is fantastic. I hope you guys check it out. Or maybe Corey will, because I know Corey actually listens to hip hop. I don't think Evan is into that type of stuff, but it's a great album. You should check it out. Really good work.
Despite my melanin level, I'm not that into hip-hop music.
You are not melanin deprived like I am or Corey is. Although but the back of my right hand still has plenty of it from Carowinds.
Is it still sizzling?
No, it's not sizzling anymore. It's just a nice burnt crispiness. It's
okay.
Great.
It's just seared on the outside.
Yes,
like Aaron Rodgers.
Not quite fully cooked.
Yeah. Corey, you're Polish. When are we going to Energylandia?
Yes, ride Zadra.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
It's a theme park in Poland. It's got one of the best roller coasters in the world there.
Huh, that's
probably
cool.
Actually several really good rides there. But yeah, we should go.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you got to find your roots, and we need the creds.
Yeah,
do need the creds.
Got to get the creds, man. So yeah, this conversation has somehow devolved more than it usually does. So let's get ready to get out of here. If you made it this far into this assorted foolishness, you should go ahead and subscribe. Go ahead and smash that subscribe button on whatever podcatcher you choose to use. We're on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, and Amazon Podcasts. If we're not on your podcatcher of choice, please let us know, and we will get on that one. You can send us an email at thesportsballers@gmail.com if you have any questions, concerns, or snide remarks. You can send us an email. You can reach out to us via Twitter at Sportsballers18. You can follow Corey on Twitter at Corey Puffett. Follow Eric on Twitter at Quagmire67. You can follow me on Twitter at Evan_Ash13. You should... do we have YouTube comments? Is anybody watching this?
Not tonight.
Okay.
It is Tuesday. It's not our normal night.
Okay. If you are listening on YouTube, go ahead and like, comment, and subscribe as well. I think that is it. Oh, like the Facebook page, too. I don't know that we particularly active on there, but I never log into Facebook at all. Like the blue F Facebook, not the Messenger.
Yeah, I'm not on there all that much these days either. So, I mean, I post the links to the shows on there for anybody who does use that to keep track of when we're going. But other than that, not really using that too much these days.
Okay.
And who knows how long we have with Twitter, so we might have to find a new platform.
Back to Facebook. Bring back the Facebook wall from 2008.
Maybe go back to MySpace. Friendster.
I still have my MySpace.
I think I still have mine
still
too.
Exists. I don't remember my password is though.
I'm sure I can find it out.
And it's tied to my old email that's now defunct, so I can't get back into it. It's the same reason why I had to kill my Twitter, is because I was like, oh, somebody hacked into your stuff. You got to log out. And they're like, we got to send you a confirmation email. I'm like, that email doesn't exist anymore. They're like, oh, well, too bad. I guess you're screwed. I was like, okay, I guess I'll make a new Twitter.
Yeah. I wasn't cool enough to have the MySpace back in the day.
I had a Zanga.
I don't even know what that is.
Heard of that?
I had a Zanga in middle school. It's like a blog page. It was really bad.
Interesting. All right.
As long as y'all don't have a Parler account or whatever.
No Parler account.
Truth Social.
Yeah, that one. I was about to call it Trump Tweets, but Truth Social.
And you can retruth people's truths. I'm not kidding. Like a retweet on Truth Social is called a retruth. I've seen it.
And it's not a tweet, it's a truth. So you can retruth somebody's truth.
Yeah. It's Truth Social. It's all truthiness.
Oh God. Yeah. Let's get out of here.
Please.
Yeah. So yeah, thank y'all for listening. For Corey and Eric, I'm Evan. This has been the Sports Ballers podcast. We will talk to you next week, and happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving.